What is going on, guys? Just drop the Hangout link if anyone wants to jump in right away. Finally finished work. About time to get streaming and get back to the part we love, reefing. I've been playing with different mics and sound setup and different things, so hopefully, let me know if you guys can hear me okay. I'm trying a different mic today, so I just set it up, so hopefully it's working good. What is going on, guys? Just drop the Hangout link if anyone... And mute that so we don't get the double echo. Nato, how are ya? Sean, welcome. So, Nato, I think it was you who's asking about my shirt. It's a good one, actually. I was wondering if I'd find anyone to secretly comment on that one. Major League Reefer, what's going on, buddy? So, how is everybody doing in the chat today? It's been a good day. It's been crazy. What's going on, Chris? What's going on? Actually, I have a question for you guys. I'll ask a few more people on, but this morning someone was asking me about the gimbal I was using and some of the behind the scenes stuff. Are you guys interested in seeing some more of the behind the scenes stuff, or is it better if I just stick to reefing videos? I'm always back and forth if I should mix non-reefing related stuff into it. Hey Roy, hey Alex. Maybe a little louder. All right. Actually, let's go closer to the mic. See if that works. So let me guys know, do you guys want to see more behind the scenes stuff and more how I make YouTube videos as well as reefing stuff, or stick to more just reefing stuff? That's one thing I'm back and forth on that like all the time. I get asked questions, so once in a while I want to answer them, but make myself a little bigger. One of my constant dilemmas. So that's one thing I know from you guys. Another thing, I've been playing with the idea of maybe building a turf scrubber. Behind the reef secret stuff for sure interested in. Okay, good. It was cool to see you post videos in the Las Vegas reef group. I actually went to Las Vegas and I filmed a bunch of reefing stuff when I was there. I haven't actually edited or done anything with the videos yet though. I was going to try to go to ATM. It didn't happen, but I did take a bunch of clips of the random saltwater tanks I found as I was wandering around the strip. So I still got to make a video of that one of these days. Makes no difference. Behind the scenes, great. Let's go with both. Okay, that sounds good. I've been trying really hard to keep it only reefing content, so this is why I was kind of torn. So that's good to know. I'm glad to hear that you guys like to see the other stuff as well. My next thing, I've been debating if it's worth trying to make a DIY turf scrubber. My Chaeto Reactor is working great, so I don't actually have a need for one, but I kind of want to build one just for fun because it's one thing I haven't tried yet. Then I don't know. I figure I could speak more educatedly about the comparison and different things with them. So if that is something you guys think I should do, or you think it'd be interesting, what's going on, Death Mage? What's going on, Steve? Welcome. Do the scrubber. All right. So I've been spending some time looking at some lights and acrylic and different pieces to DIY with something up. I've had a few companies talking to them about it, but I think it'd be kind of more fun to build one than just go with a pre-made one. So we'll see. So actually, do any of you guys run scrubbers in your tank? And what do you guys think about them? The one thing I like about the Chaeto Reactor is everything is 100% contained, which is nice. I guess this turf scrubber is for the most part. My thing, I like the reefing related content. If you branch out, but it ties to reefing, I'm all in. All right, sounds good. Send you my old reactor. We'll see. I feel like I'm gonna have to run them alternate for a little while so I can somehow find a way to compare them quantifiably. I don't know. I like to get scientific into things, even with like the ozone and the ORP stuff. Every day I'm sitting there mapping it out in the morning and seeing how it goes. Chris, donation for the website. Thank you so much, man. Much appreciated. On that note, so I have the domain bought. Chris, thank you for donating to that. I definitely appreciate that. The domain is bought. I paid for the upfront fee and then the year of the back end stuff, which is the same one as Reef to Reef uses. So that's done. Just the basic forms installed. I got a couple of modules for galleries and a few of those things to install. The next big thing is finding a good template or theme for it and then figuring out how the layout's going to be. So Chris, thank you for that. It's much appreciated. I'm adding you to the list. Everyone that has donated to the startup cause, I'm just going to get the lifetime good membership as like thank you, kind of like Kickstarter, I guess. You guys get bonuses for helping contribute to the cause, so much appreciated. Hey, DeAndre. NATO, you're running a DIY scrubber. I used the lights off the Rain 2 from Santa Monica since I needed something that's water resistant. Can you buy just the lights from Santa Monica? Mine's open up on the side. I hate the Rain 2. You have to lift and support. Yeah. Hey, Chris. Drop the Hangout link if you guys would like to join. Chris, I'm going to add you to my spreadsheet just to make sure that's logged in there. So thank you, sir. PayPal. Chris Fish Room. Old skimmer I'm trying to make into a Chaeto reactor. Any ideas that might help to make it easier? The only thing with the skimmer, you could use the skimmer body. You could, same thing, wrap the lights, tons and stuff around it. The only thing with a skimmer is generally water could potentially leak out of the bottom. And I wouldn't trust putting these waterproof lights into the water. I kind of think it'd be a little bit more sketchy. So I personally prefer mine out of the water. So you could raise your skimmer up. I'd say actually, if you could inject water to the top of your skimmer and have just the base of it sitting in the water, so where the base sandwiches together, it would take away any risk of it leaking and let it output out the bottom of the skimmer. I think that would work. So I would totally attempt that if you want to use an old skimmer body. You had to ask if he sells them separately. Nice way of having so many power bricks for each light. That's actually a really good idea there, NATO. I might actually look into that because my biggest thing has been what do I use for lighting? I've been looking at those thin kind of flat panel IP65 ones I see on a lot of the commercial scrubbers. They're anywhere from like the $20 to $30 each. So by the time you buy them all, you're probably about $120 in for the lights. So that's the one thing I've been kind of like, it's not too bad. I kind of figure it's probably about $200 if I build my own versus a couple hundred to buy a commercial one. So we'll see. Power bricks take up a lot of cabinet space. Yes, they definitely do. Reefer Jones, welcome, welcome. A little bit of reef. How are you guys doing? Sorry, just got to quickly add Chris's fish room to my list. So thank you again, Chris, for that. What's going on? I am finally off work. I'm live streaming, talking Reefians, so back to the happy place. So that's what I'm using commercial light. Sucked playing to plug so many things on timers. I think if I do go the commercial light route, I think I'm going to wire them all together and just make one big, just so you have one plug for it all. So the one I was thinking, 30 watt, waterproof, warm white, floodlight. So a couple different lights. One of them looks like these guys. And these are kind of floodlights. I haven't seen these ones used yet, but they look fairly big and fairly efficient. So that's one potential option. And the other ones that I see on a lot of scrubbers look just kind of like this. So that was my other option, is trying to get maybe that kind of style. But I need 4 of them, and it's probably about $120 by the time you get it. But one potential option. Cellulite foot crab, yes or no? Lots of people love them. I have never personally had one, so I can't say for sure on that one, Alex. John, if I had instant ocean regular salt and want to start a reef, I have to convert to reef salt. No, you do not. The only difference between instant ocean and reef crystals is reef crystals will have higher calcium and alkalinity. I'm not sure on the calcium, but I know the alkalinity is much higher. So I could honestly probably swap to just using straight up instant ocean. Wouldn't be an ideal if you're dosing your tank anyways. So on that part, I would say it doesn't really matter. Hey Pete, how are you doing? Tom Winter, do radions make much noise, the fans? On my lights, I keep them at 45% from my experimenting, and there goes all my windows. From my experimenting, if you keep them less than 50%, the fans don't turn on. At least that's true for my XR15s. Now, mine are Gen 3s. I've been looking at Gen 4s. I don't have any yet. I may find some way to do a switcheroo and upgrade mine and sell mine. But so far on the XR30s, as long as it's less than 50%, they never turn on, and it's dead silent. So I did hear a few people complain that the fans were a bit loud. Talking EcoDeck, they said they're not supposed to. You're supposed to be super quiet, so you could have got a funky fan. Or I've also heard that through a firmware update, reduced a lot of the fan noise or issues. So that being said, there's a few different things I've heard, so I don't think it's a big issue from what I've heard. What's going on? Hey, AL. Hey, Steve. LEDs need to be 660 nanometers. So I believe that's the red spectrum. So I've also heard different things on that. So right now I'm only using warm whites on my Chaeto Reactor, and those are the 3000, 4300 type of range. And there has yet to be any issues as growing algae great. The warm whites do have a bunch of the red spectrum mixed in. Now, from my understanding, the red spectrum, there's two different spectrums. I don't even remember which one's which, but one of them will kind of promote growth in the first place, and once it's already growing, the other spectrum will kind of maintain it. So I think both have different kind of merits. What's going on, Cruz? What's going on, Rico? Haley, welcome, guys. Andrew. So Andrew John. Okay, so if I should change, just change 10% of the water, change to new salt. Yes, anytime you're changing any salt, the parameters are different. So I would only do, say, 5 or 10, depends on the size of your tank, but I'd like to do 5 or 10 gallons a week and just slowly ease into the new salt. What's going on? Whoever just joined the live stream. Hey, Cruz.
Hey, how's it going, Evan?
Excellent, thank you. How are you doing?
Doing all right. Just got out of work.
Wonderful, so me too. Even better, right?
Oh, absolutely. Going back to the freaking hobby, something that we enjoy.
Oh, I was excited to start the stream. I'm like, yes, finally done. Talk reefing. The day is good.
Yeah, life is good.
Exactly. How's your life been lately? What's new with you?
Lots of things. Lots of personal things I don't want to bore you guys with. Yeah. But yeah.
Anything?
Lots of things, lots of changes coming.
Anything exciting on the reefing side of things?
Not really, just a couple of things. Rico, how are you doing? He's going to be receiving a couple of samples. I know that you're wanting a couple of samples too, Deb, so I'm going to get that to you as well.
Okay, excellent.
What's going on?
What's going on, Rico?
Yep.
Been feeling like crap.
That's no fun.
Oh,
headache.
It's that bug that's going around, huh?
Yikes.
No, I think it's more than that with me. But I'm one of them hard-headed people that don't want to go to the hospital.
Oh, dude, you got to watch out for the freaking walking pneumonia that's going around.
Yikes. You should be hiding in the dark if it's getting to be a migraine.
Oh, I've been in the bed all day.
Yeah.
So.
Yikes. That's why I didn't see you online on a stream earlier.
Yeah.
No, I got up. I dropped the video and I just down.
I watched all 3 of your series on the Tidal Gardens ones today in a row. That was good. It's kind of cool that you live so close to everything.
Yeah.
Andrew, quick note on your tank. You said it's a 40 breeder. If you're changing salts, I would only do like 5 gallons a week and slowly ease it into it, just so there's not a big parameter swing.
Yep.
Paul, speaking of salt, how do you feel about probiotic salts? I have personally never used anything other than reef crystals, just because it's available and it's cheap. It's the only thing I've actually ever used. But I think, at the end of the day, I don't think there's a huge difference in salts. Some of them will have more trace elements. It kind of depends. If you're dosing stuff anyways, I don't think it makes that big of a difference. If you're not dosing anything and just doing water changes, then it might play a little more role in things.
Oh, absolutely, and that's where the miracle mud actually comes in. Is even if you do start off with like the Instant Ocean reef crystals, you're going to be able to actually bring in those trace elements naturally. It's going to reach a saturation point, a natural saturation point where you have all the available minerals back into the system, and that's one of the things that I want to talk to you about, Dev, regarding utilizing it in a jelly tank. Something that's a little bit more how do you say it? Something that's still new to the hobby. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be interesting, actually.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's still a novel idea having moon jellyfish, having different jellyfish and jellyfish tanks. And we're still learning. We're still learning a lot about that, and I think that you're definitely exploring a brave new world.
I'm bad though. I love experimenting. I know my tank doesn't like it, like stability, but I don't know. I love to find out things work and try out different things and see what happens, and I really enjoy the scientific side of the hobby as well.
Oh, absolutely. I think we all kind of geek out on how we can make our tanks better.
Yep.
Regardless of, the enormity of it, we're still looking to try to figure out, can I take it to the next notch? And what does that next notch look like? You know, we're always trying to refine our abilities and refine our level. You know, excellence. And I think that's on here on Rico's stream, even on Paul's stream and a couple of others. Michael Aaron's over there in the UK. They, you know, this group that you guys have going, the following, they're learning a lot. You know, just by us talking, by watching what you're doing, watching what Rico's doing, watching what you know, everybody else is doing, and actually learning by us putting hands on for them. You know what I'm saying? And that's you know, that's a good thing. I remember we used to have to freaking read books, you know, books and stuff that hasn't been proven yet, just theories. And yeah, it's come a long way, you know, being able to get in this form.
I still sneak in the books once in a while. I have a few like coral books and different ones that are interesting. I don't read it nearly enough though, but once in a while I sneak them out. There's some good stuff in there for like actual detailed stuff on it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Everything is in the Darien. Everything that we like is in the Darien.
Yep. NATO's asking, what are you dosing now? Like BRS 2-part? Essentially, yes. I'm just dosing bulk 2-part chemicals at the moment. Was doing a calcium reactor. I needed that chamber for my frag rack for now, so temporarily back to 2-part. But I'm sure I'll go back to that eventually. But yeah, it's essentially identical to BRS 2-part, just the raw chemicals. Oh, there you go. Perfect question for Cruz. Pete asks, what does everybody think the pros and cons of Miracle Mother? I'm assuming that's Miracle Mud are.
Yeah.
Cruz,
pros and cons.
Tell us about all the benefits and all the sides of Miracle Mud. I've never used it. I'm learning. I know Cruz knows tons about it, so it's perfect that you're on right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, kind of been using it for a long time. Understood where it was coming from, what it was actually meant for. And basically, Miracle Mud is a natural way for trace elements to actually leach back into your system based on, and it's a more controlled method than, and I think a little bit easier if you're actually applying it correctly. A lot easier than dosing. It's basically set it and forget it, and it leaches out as much as it needs to, and it doesn't overdose the system. If that makes sense. There's always a natural saturation point in water. Water is kind of like a sponge. It could only suck up so much before it stops sucking up. The whole substrate, the Miracle Mud substrate comes in, is that we're basing it on that natural phenomenon where water would only take up so much. Reach equilibrium is where we want to be for ideal water parameters. Once again, we're not trying to replace salts. We're not trying to replace skimmers. What we're doing is we're trying to remineralize and add in elements back into the system. And there's still that we're still learning about this hobby is what is bare necessity minimum that you need for a coral tank to survive versus what is the parameters and the ideal conditions for the corals, the corals and the reef inhabitants to thrive. And there's a lot of controversy around that, going back and forth saying, well, we got all these additives, but is it truly, I kind of like to make an analogy is these dosing systems, these dosing regimens are very much like LEDs. They cover enough of the spectrum, but there's still gaps. Does that make sense? Whereas, the Miracle Mud substrate is more of a broad spectrum mineralization, remineralization media, where you would be able to, it's kind of like a halide. It covers the full spectrum. So yeah, go ahead.
Is there a way to know if your Miracle Mud ever becomes exhausted or it's no longer releasing those elements that it leaches to the water?
Yeah, and that's where the ICP testing comes in. Very, very strong. We ran a couple of tests, and if you're running a closed system without doing huge water changes, without huge exports, then you tend to see that the Miracle Mud remains in the system a lot longer. If you start doing water changes, weekly, monthly, whatever, and you're replacing it with a mineral deficient salt, expect to see that number decrease very, very rapidly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like diluting Kool-Aid, and that's another good analogy. Diluting Kool-Aid. Imagine the color. Imagine the coloration as all the dissolved minerals that's available coming from the miracle mud.
Yeah.
And imagine you removed half of it and then you put makeup water, basically drinking water, whatever. And you notice that the color is lighter. And then you do it again the following week, and then you notice that it gets lighter and lighter and lighter, so on and so forth, every time you do a water change. And that's basically the premise of how you actually deplete the miracle mud a lot faster is by doing, water changes with salts that don't have those minerals in it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I know people are going to ask, so what salt do you use and recommend, Cruz?
Oh, shoot.
Since we've already had about 3 questions about salt since we started 5 minutes ago.
Well, I mean, I don't get paid
Yeah.
to endorse, but we've utilized a number of what we consider decent ones, like the Tropic Merit. We've also utilized the Fritz. We've also utilized ATM, the hot salt. We've also utilized a lot of other ones like Kent, the Kent Pro Reef Marine salts. That one's pretty good. Salinity's good.
That's what I'm using, Tropic Marine now.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm switching over to it, shall I say?
Are you
reef crystals?
Yeah, are you using the bioactive? The bioactive one.
Whichever one is straight for. It's supposed to be dedicated to reefs.
That's probably bioactive. That one's supposed to be able to sustain higher populations of bacterial colonies, being able to actually get into the the sustainability of a system. And one of the things that we did see is that a good, healthy bacterial count, once again, sucks up a lot of nutrients, sucks up a lot of minerals too, sucks up a lot of the trace elements in the friggin' system. Potassium's one of them. Being that if you add up all the bacteria, you have a lot. Mass wise, you have a lot. Being that it's able to find nooks and crannies in almost on almost any surface. But actually combine them all into like a singular mass, it's pretty considerable as an organism.
So Pete was asking, how much mud do you need per gallon, or how do you gauge how much miracle mud one would add to a system?
How much?
He asked how much mud per gallon, but I'm guessing how would one figure out how much to use?
Well, I mean, what we do, one second.
Okay.
1 second. Yeah, what we do is, I mean, you could even start off, with bare minimum. You don't. Hold on, my son's coming out. Hi. Daddy's on the phone real quick, bud. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Yeah, I'll be there in a second. Yeah, in a second, bud. All right, love you. All right, sorry about that.
No problem.
You're going to lose that battle.
Yeah. She'll be back.
No. Yeah, mommy's bringing him back in. But yeah, how do you gauge it? Well, we typically start off with, a minimum size, like say, 10 pounds, 5 pounds, based on the system. And, it really comes down to bioload, whether or not it's fully packed, fully grown out, mature colonies, kind of like in Rico's system where it's like fully grown, big colonies that have high utilization rates, for their, they need a lot of nutrients and trace elements to actually build the corals, its entirety. So, yeah, we, how do you gauge it? That's a very, very good question. We always start with our refugium, basically with the recommended 2 inches, 2 inches of layer on the freaking bottom of the tank. I know that on the ecosystem side, there's a recommendation on how to actually apply it. We've kind of deviated away from that at Elegant Corals, and we put in minimum, and then we add later.
Okay.
And we continue to add later.
So you never remove it; you just keep adding.
Absolutely.
Okay. I guess it's just going to be essentially a bacteria layer kind of colony, just stacking it up as you add more, and you're adding more to just replenish whatever nutrients have been sucked out of it.
Absolutely, and you don't even need that much to consistently replenish. Do you know what I'm saying? It once again, if you're at the saturation point at equilibrium, you're good, and it's always going to maintain that. So if you notice that things aren't starting to look, they're starting to not look as good. What Rico and I talked about is Telltale Corals. The ones that actually talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
They have they display like pulled in tentacles. They're starting to pale out a little bit. Then you test your water, send it out for an ICP test, and that's to get real hard data on where your levels are.
So what actually, this probably question is going to come up, but what would you say are a handful of good telltale corals that you'd recommend to people? Like,
Well,
I know Duncans, for instance, can be more sensitive to things, and there's certain ones that will react easier to issues with your water.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have, like, what are your go-to ones that you would say?
Yeah, that's funny that you actually mentioned that. But yeah, Duncans are one of the ones that we have in our system, in our mix system.
Mm-hmm.
To tell us where our levels are, or whether or not something's being depleted, and you can tell by its reaction and also by the color. If it starts paling out, it's starting to lose the blue streaks. It's starting to lose the vibrancy in that greenish blue flesh.
Yep.
You're
Something's off.
You're breaking up, Cruz.
Yeah, lost you there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Eric B was asking, is it better for older, like established tanks, or for new tanks?
It could be actually utilized for both.
Yep.
Depends on how you actually set it up. In a new tank, basically what we recommend is seeding the system with the bacteria as well while you're putting in the mud. That way it has a chance to colonize.
Mm-hmm.
And
that is a lot of nutrients being released on a new tank.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not really nutrients. We don't have any NO3 and PO4. If that's what people are thinking, we don't have any of that in there.
Yeah.
But what we do have is we have a lot of beneficial trace elements that could be utilized by say oh gosh, what is it called? By the silicate utilizing algae. What is it called? Diatoms.
Diatoms.
So yeah, diatoms will definitely love you
yes.
with it. That's the brown layer that we see on our sand when we're actually utilizing Miracle Mud.
Well, yeah, I would say definitely talk about it, because there's been a lot of talk that people think that when you put it in, because of what they read, that they've seen a lot of nutrients, a lot of things going bad in their system. People's mentioned started getting cyano or stuff and thinking it was, some of the mud causing it and stuff like that. So you got like mixed reviews. So if you can clear it up so people have a more understanding.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And the thing is that into your system, when you put any dosing, food, additives, or anything else, you drive off a lot of the oxygen. That's where the cyano comes in and capitalizes on the oxygen deficient environment. It doesn't like too much oxygen. So that's one of the telltale signs that you're not oxygenating or aerating your system well, or you're not getting good gas. It's it's kind of like what Devin was actually talking about is what are the telltale signs.
Mm-hmm.
You know that your oxygen is getting depleted really, really quickly, especially when you're dumping in a whole bottle of freaking bacteria to get the cycling happening. Well, the bacteria are aerobic bacteria. They use oxygen like crazy. Once again, imagine that bottle as a fish. Pound for pound, but you also have increased surface area for the bacteria. So they're utilizing the oxygen as fast as they can wherever they could get it. Doing so, they suck up all the oxygen out of the water column. And if you don't have good gas exchange, or you don't have sufficient gas exchange, that's when cyano capitalizes on the environment.
On a random side note, that's probably why I've heard people that do vinegar dosing and certain forms of carbon dosing probably get extra cyanos because all the bacteria is sucking up all the oxygen. Same concept.
Bingo.
Yep.
Yep. They're sucking. Well, not the cyano, but the bacteria is sucking up all the oxygen, and then the cyano capitalizes on the oxygen deficiency.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and then see, once again, there's a lot of claims by people that haven't. How do you say it? They haven't really shown what they did when they're utilizing the miracle mud. I know that myself, Mike, utilizing it for the better part of 2 decades, and have never ran into that situation because we also do aerate very well, and we don't turn on our lights if we don't have anything in our display tank.
Well, it makes sense. Otherwise, you're just feeding the algae. So.
Oh, absolutely! You're giving them the light to actually capitalize on the extra energy. You're also giving them extra nutrients to actually establish.
Yeah.
You're just begging to fight an uphill battle.
Make work project for yourself, eh?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, and I'm not trying to overly simplify this, but it does seem like the people that how do you say it? The people who want to say that they put so much to it didn't start it. Didn't establish their tank correctly from the beginning. They overpopulated too quickly. They shortcutted. They were trying to friggin' they're trying to set up the system and establish it very, very quickly too, without the right precautions, measures, and so on and so forth. And it just seems like everybody who runs into these problems that's the nature of the beast, and it's not.
Yeah, that was me. That was me, impatient, hear it up, and trying to get this beautiful tank together, and not to cut you off, but that was me. You just described me within a statement.
No, I apologize, and I didn't want to single out just anybody, but no, it seems like that's that's the way of the hobby right now is fast. How fast can I grow? How fast can I cycle? How fast can I do everything? And it's supposed to be relaxing, you know.
Yeah,
kind of like bonsai.
People make more stress for themselves than they need
exactly,
to.
But that's part of
yes,
success.
they do.
But
no one likes to wait. You learn to wait after you have a reef for a while. When people start, they always want to know.
Absolutely.
But it's kind of like
them. It's almost like that they want to experience that, and they think that that's part of the growing pains. But it really doesn't have to.
Yeah, but to me, that's how I learned. So, I mean, I think I lost maybe about $300 so far in fish and coral altogether.
Wow,
and I got tons of LFS equipment that I bought. Just the store brand, the store brand filters and stuff that you can get in the LFS is not the stuff that you need to order online.
Yep, so, just to remediate the problems that you caused, right?
Yep. So, but I'm learning a lot though. Like now, like the system that I'm gonna do here in the near future, I'm already buying the equipment that I'm gonna use. So that way I'm not just trying stuff, and I'm not going off of a whole bunch of questions and stuff. Like I'm going off of my personal experience. Like I know when I just threw 2 fish in to cycle my tank and dumped a whole bottle of bioload in there just to cycle it, that didn't give me the results that I wanted. So now I need to do a full cycle, let it go through the stages, and that type of stuff.
What's going on, Chris?
So basically, just delayed the cycle.
Yeah, I mean, because I can tell you right now, I think the biggest part of my problem was I dumped the guy at the LFS. He said, "Hey, you're using our rock and our water, you can drop coral in your tank next week. You know,
On that note, though,
because the rock.
on that note, you could add coral before fish because coral doesn't necessarily care about the
Yes,
cycle as much. It's the fish,
yes, you
the
can.
living, that's going to be more impacted by it.
Yeah, let's see. That's something I heard too.
Mm-hmm.
I was told that you want to stock your tank with fish first and then coral because you want your fish to. I forgot what it was. The big saying or the theory behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, for the nutrients for the corals,
Yep.
um, the quality food that you're feeding them, then in turn the waste products are very very high in essential nutrition as well for the corals.
Mm-hmm.
So one of
hmm
the things that they do eat in the wild is a lot of the detritus, a lot of fish waste. It's one of the reasons why monopores are cupped like that, is so that they could actually trap,
Hmm.
trap the freaking fish waste and the freaking droppings.
Makes sense, I
There,
guess.
there's
Never
always a
considered that.
form and a function. Huh?
Never considered that, but makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean that's that's also one of the reasons why, if you actually take a look at the tabling acropores, over there in the Great Barrier Reef, over there in Boracay Bay in the Philippines, and you actually go scuba diving, you'll notice that they all, even if it's tabling, you could actually see a slight cupping
Hmm.
in the freaking coral colony itself. And I mean, you're talking about 3 feet, 4 feet, colonies in diameter, being able to utilize the water movement to be able to trap the solids and the particulates that they actually need to survive. And there's a reason why corals also have mouths, and it's not just because they're sucking in liquid nutrients only, but they also eat particulates, to be able to sustain their mineral uptake.
Mm-hmm.
Cruise,
Yeah,
cruise. They don't. They don't eat. They just need light. Cruise.
Oh, they eat.
That's what some people say.
They can survive with light. They can flourish with food.
Yeah, they could survive, but
Right.
in order to actually get the growth acceleration, the growth pattern really really hit their stride in growth and color, everything that they need.
It
I
makes
mean,
a
my
big
my dad,
difference.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I've noticed a huge difference between not feeding mine to feeding them a couple times a week. Like, you get a huge improvement in growth.
Oh, absolutely. Little spurts, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And polyps all freaking stick out like. Never mind.
Yeah. Might want to skip that one.
Kid
I'll
friendly.
skip that.
Like a happy
Yeah,
polyp in the morning.
Sorry about that. I forgot that this was PG-13. But yeah, it they're happy, they grow better, especially in higher nutrient tanks. And I'm not just talking about the dissolved nutrients, I'm talking about the solids.
Mm-hmm.
Small pieces of food, be it golden pearls or otherwise in rods, and LRS or any other of these frozen food manufacturers, is that they actually go ahead and they put in these particulates for a reason. They grind it up to a certain point, so that you have both big and small, so that you can feed both the LPS and the SPS.
Mm-hmm.
And in the milky substance, even though it looks like it's still particulates.
Yep. Actually, kind of a funny note on this, because I've been, diving down my adventure into using ozone lately, and the same thing. Like every day, I've been turning it down a little bit more because I'm trying to find that perfect amount where it doesn't spike it too quickly. So it's just very subtle. Because on that same note, if you use too much ozone, you're going to break down too much in the water, and there's going to be less food for the filter feeders. So you don't want to go too crazy with it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to overload your system, and I think that's where a lot of people are, or a lot of the hobbyists are actually finding. Once again, going back to the Miracle Mud thing, is that they're stocking it, they're putting in the Miracle Mud, and then they think that all of a sudden they could stock their tank completely full of everything without having macroalgae to also uptake a lot of the excess nutrients or any other export.
Yeah. You're right. They don't think about the when they're just so. I think a lot of people are just so excited just to set up and get into the hobby and don't really think about their export methods and stuff like that. What are they going to use to uptake, excess nutrients?
Mhm.
So,
yeah, and I've
good.
been there before. I made those mistakes, and
Oh, me too.
Everybody has part of learning.
absolutely. But we thought, and I'm going to speak for a lot of us old timers. We thought that we'd get way past this, way past this point, where we would have freaking prodigies just coming in and freaking just setting up a tank in 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, and be able to freaking rock and roll. And there's some of them out there that can do that. They've been in the freaking hobby for maybe about 6 to 8 months, and here they are setting up the system, step by step, and no skepticism. They follow it by what's been proven. And I think that once again, with the miracle mud, and I'm not trying to, once again, I apologize if I sound like a freaking spokesperson, but with it, I've only seen tanks that have been set up, for a long time with some type of mineral delivery mechanism. Do you know what I'm saying? Like even over there at the Long Beach Aquarium of the Pacific, over there in California, I mean, the oldest tanks that I've seen has the Miracle Mud substrate in it. Why? Once again, I'm not a water scientist. I'm not a oil scientist. I'm not a substrate scientist. I'm an engineer. But there is something going on there that is totally beneficial for an existing system and or a new system. With the utilization of that substrate. So, once again, the only thing I could say is I've observed tanks that I've set up without it, and it's been a lot harder. I'd have to babysit it more. I have to put a lot more time, a lot more effort. And the ones that have the Miracle Mud in it, for our clients, we could go weeks without going back there. If they say that they're going to go out of town and don't worry about the tank, it looks good. We don't worry about it at all. It's something where it would be able to sustain the copepod population, especially for these, and a lot of them have Mandarin gobies. They have a lot of blenny scooters. They also have a lot of these other, Midas blennies and so on and so forth. All these little small fish, that graze constantly. And the ones with Miracle Mud, they're doing fine. They're always fat. When they come home after 2 to 3 weeks, they're still fat. The ones that don't have the Miracle Mud substrate in there, and you forgot to feed them copepods and amphipods, come back and they're kind of on the lean side.
So Miracle Mud's good for copepods, eh? Good breeding ground.
Oh, absolutely, and especially if you're feeding the macroalgae. The copepods eat the dying vegetation. They eat that, and they also eat the undigested or uneaten food pellets as well.
So question from Jeff for Daily Reefing. How much Miracle Mud would be ideal for a 500-gallon tank, around 650 gallons of water?
I would say you could start off with probably around, just a rough calculation, just to get into your system and actually have it slowly leaching. I would say probably about 80 to 100 pounds.
Okay.
So basically 8 jars, 8 of 10-pound jars or 10-pound bags.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard lots about Miracle Mud. I've never tried it, so I'm kind of curious to try it.
Well, I'm going to let you know as soon as it gets here, Devin.
Yep.
We're going to find out.
Yes, we will.
I think it's going to be fine.
Hey, Rico, on that note, actually,
great.
on your title garden interview videos, actually, Than mentioned that they run it in their systems too. I noticed that this morning when I was watching those.
Well, if he told you, then he told you. I can't tell you what he does in there.
I paid more attention to your videos than you did. Hey.
Huh?
I said, so
I'm just saying, man. I mean, I could go to I go to these people and stuff like that, but I do not kiss and tell. It's up to them if they want to talk about it or whatnot.
Yeah,
but...
no, he mentioned it. That just kind of
okay.
my memory from watching it earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, Cruz, you probably agree with me on that one. We just, I mean, some places won't even let you into some of their, under the hood type stuff. So I just, that's his thing. If he said it and mentioned it. Cool.
Yeah, he did. He
Yeah,
did. I saw it.
Yeah, me too.
But it was it was very nice that it wasn't an edited. Do you know what I'm saying, Rico? And I appreciate that. It's raw. You know,
Yeah.
it's hobby,
Yep.
and I know that
Yep.
a lot of these other YouTubers, they edit, and they cut out stuff if they're not representing it. And I think that's
Nope. I left it exactly the way it is.
Absolutely. Yep. And the skewing of the hobby, you know, once again goes into the politics of the hobby. We, you know, as hobbyists, we really don't like going there. Politics suck in the real world. Why do we want politics in the freaking hobby?
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
it's pretty screwed up there, and we saw how politics screws up our freaking country.
Yeah.
Well, imagine how it's going to happen, you know, if we actually let them take over, you know, how politics is going to actually affect our hobby and what we get and what we can't get.
Yeah. Well, our hobby is kind of our getaway from the politics, ironically, so. Can't escape it, eh? Can't escape it.
Well, I can. I just go down to my basement and take care of it there. Turn off the TV.
Right.
Yep. That's
Turn
right
off
now.
my phone. Yeah, it's a little away.
Random question for you. Chaeto versus a turf scrubber. Any opinions on that?
I would say both. They utilize different nutrients at different rates. Julian Sprung did a freaking experiment on that, and I believe he has all these different types of macroalgae as well as the turf algae.
Yeah.
And we noticed that it uptook, depending on lighting intensity and duration, how much of each nutrient that it actually takes up.
Okay.
I know that Chaeto is non-specific, but it does utilize the nitrates and the phosphates very well. The Caulerpa does very, very well with the nitrates, getting that pretty low, but the PO4 still spikes.
Yeah.
Turf algae is able to actually utilize both, being that it's a myriad of freaking different type of algae strains that that typically grow in the wild, and we get them as hitchhikers. We get them on frag plugs this, frag plugs that, water, natural seawater, blah 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 blah, so on and so forth. That's untreated. So we're seeing a lot of hitchhiking, algae. Algae is always going to be in our system, regardless of how hard we try to freaking clean it.
Do you know what's actually really interesting?
Yep.
In one of my containers I culture pods, I've added nothing in there. All I've added is live phytoplankton, and I now have like almost, I'd say, a baseball-sized ball of like algae. Like it's just one big ball. Never added it. It's just slowly found a way in and started growing. I just leave it in there, whatever. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how it just came from. All I've ever added was phytoplankton. So there you go. There was some in one of the sources that I got somewhere.
Absolutely, and phytoplankton is one of the. I believe, depending on the freaking strain and depending on the purity of the water that they added in, I mean, even in our friggin' drinking water and in our house water, coming straight from the city, there's always going to be some type of algae in there, even if it's chlorinated, treated, and whatnot. There's always some part that is actually exposed, in the settling ponds, in the curing ponds, and the sedimentation areas, where you actually start picking up a lot of these wild type algae. And everyone's like, well, I want to get rid of it. Okay, you can't, but you can control it.
Yeah.
By out competition, so on and so forth. So yeah, it's go ahead.
Oh no, I gotta say, I mean, that's the whole point of the refugiums half the time, is just to outcompete whatever algae potentially could happen in your tank.
Yep, that's correct.
Yep.
So what we do is, on some of our systems, we run it, if we have a smaller refugium, we run it 24/7. Especially with the non-specific Chaeto. It's not highly specialized. It doesn't really need a dark period like the higher forms, like the Caulerpas and stuff like that, or the Alvacia.
Actually, just this week I tried doing that. I think I preached down 16 hours, and I just left the switch on just to see if there's any difference. So.
Yeah. Did you notice anything?
Not overly yet. It probably has a slight impact on pH. I got to go look at it and compare it, since I got to figure out when I actually started doing that. But.
Okay. No, that'd be very, very interesting. I guarantee you're going to see a lot more stable pH.
Yeah, I think a bit higher pH. Not a huge, but like 0.01, 0.02 type of deal. Like a small boost, but that's the only thing I've really noticed so far from it. But so it's interesting though.
Excellent. Did you notice? Lower nitrates, lower phosphates?
I haven't
Anything
tested.
else like
I
that?
haven't tested yet though. I should probably do that in the next few days. It's been probably about a
Yeah,
week
you
since I've
need.
been doing it.
Yeah, you definitely need a baseline test
Yeah.
first, prior to and then after.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Um, but yeah, in regards to the Chaeto versus turf scrubbing algae, I would say both. Run both. One's gonna friggin' try to outcompete the other, anyways.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be able to.
Yep.
We'll see who wins.
You're gonna be exactly.
And fight.
And,
Yeah.
and remember the export of the nutrients from the turf algae. When you scrub that off, you do your weekly maintenance scrape off, or you'll notice that there's going to be a slight boost in the freaking Chaeto, and then vice versa.
Yep.
When you're thinning out the Chaeto, you're going to notice a boost in your freaking in your turf algae.
No, that's actually a very good point to just try running both and let them shine when they can, and otherwise they'll survive.
Absolutely. So long as you have a good nutrient export system, I would say doesn't really matter. Yes and no, but it's very, very minimal.
Yeah. So, okay, another random thing, because I've been also playing a little bit with the spectrum, seeing how they react. Like I have warm white lights right now on my Chaeto. I used to be running the red and blue grow lights. Now I'm debating building a turf scrubber just for fun, and I'm saying like I'm back and forth. Do I go with the grow lights, or do I just go with warm whites that has bits of red and other stuff, more of a broad spectrum?
Well, we tend to utilize the warmer whites, the 3000K, the 2700K, and also the 5000K as our warm growth lights. Basically all warm whites. Very, very little blue needed. Once again, these especially like Chaeto, it's a floating plant. It gets a lot of the warm spectrum anyways. I mean, last time I checked, the sun's not blue, so it's not purple. It's not just red and blue. It's a myriad of friggin' spectrums.
No, that's true.
I mean, sorry, it was just an
Sorry, I'm just reading the chat, dude.
I know. 5180 or 51840 breeder. He's like, I feel like I'm cheating on Rico being into the stream. I said he's here too. Live stream affairs.
I had to laugh, dude. That was funny.
So yeah,
you forgot to add no homo on the end of that though, but it's all good. No.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, I would
Alrighty.
on the warmer whites, Dev, if you could.
Yeah, that's...
and really make observations as you're going along. That way, you can show. This is the difference between blue and red only versus the warm whites, warm white spectrums.
I have thought about too potentially, because you can get the RGB ones of maybe running like a color on one side and warm on the other side. I mean, it's probably a waste of money to buy different ones, but it'd be interesting to see the difference in growth on each side of your screen.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So might happen. We'll see. Depends what I can find for lighting for not crazy expensive.
Yeah, not crazy expensive at all, and it's a experiment worth doing.
Yeah, exactly.
We utilize the highest intensity that we can. With the LED floodlights. Yep. Typically, once again, 3000K. The lowest we've ever gone was 2700K. We're noticing funny growth, but still growing pretty good.
Yep.
5000. You start getting slowing on some of the greens. The brighter lime greens and the fluorescent greens. We started noticing that too.
So 3K is kind of the sweet spot.
Yeah, 3K with a blend of 5. We typically run, being that we have a large refugium, we typically run a blend of 3,000 and 5,000.
Okay.
Ultra.
Yep.
Makes for better growth anyways. We get the intensity plus the additive increase in what they call photosynthetic radiation. So it does pretty well.
Now, if you're running the floodlights, what are you running? Pretty high powered ones, like 30, 50, 100 watts? Like, what do you run in your system?
No, we utilize the 26 watters. 200. The 26 watt equivalent of a 200 watt incandescent floodlight.
Okay. That's good.
I wonder if that's what I got on my dang refuge. I just I went to Home Depot and I saw the Philips floodlight LED.
Yep.
I think it had like 10,000 something was it not lumens but
Calvin.
Calvin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and shoved that thing in that little in that floodlight in the fixture
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
clamped it on top of my fuse. The video I'm putting out tomorrow
Yep.
on my first sump. I mean, it had that refuse just filled with algae.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the best grow lights that I know out there. I mean, we grew other stuff with them with the 3000Ks back in the day too. You know, when it first came out,
Mm-hmm.
and as they
Hmm.
started increasing in power, we started growing better. You know, with it because of the intensity and the spectral composition. It's not all of it, you know, but it's the majority of it. I want to say 80% of the freaking growth spectrum's there. The other ones are in the UV range.
So
But
simply,
yeah, it's. Yeah, go ahead.
simply Reefing's asking, wouldn't the warm light potentially grow nuisance algae? I think it will grow any algae you have already
Oh,
seeded in
absolutely.
that area. It's any type of algae is going to be growing.
Yeah, but once again, if it's in your refugium, if it's in your sump, that's where you want it to be anyway. It's
Mm-hmm.
compartmentalized, and then you do your regular maintenance on it. You know, if you're getting turf algae growing on your acrylic, you know, in your sump, that's great because now you have a turf scrubber as
Yeah.
well as your freaking Chaeto.
Built in.
You know, it's got a 2-in-1.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we've dabbled with that. We've dabbled with additional screens that we have slotted pipes on.
Mm-hmm.
And it grows. It grows the Chaeto down below it, and it also grows the turf algae right on top of it. So
Yeah, there you
it
go.
does.
It's an efficient way to do it.
Yeah. So when people say one or the other, it's why not both?
Both. I like how you think. That's a great way to do it.
You know, it's this hobby isn't black and white.
Yep.
There's a lot of gray in between. There's a lot of things that we still don't understand that people think that they know.
Mm-hmm.
They start talking about it and they say, well, we prefer Chaeto. Why? You know, there's really no definitive answer for why it's a better medium to actually grow, other than it's easy to cut, it's easy to, you know, harvest. But once again, so is turf algae.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and maybe it doesn't look as pretty. Maybe it smells a little bit sickly because, you know, you got high bioload, and, you know, turf algae collects all that. You know, it utilizes all that freaking mulm and yuck and stuff
Mm-hmm.
to actually feed. Whereas the Chaeto looks a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why I would think that people want the Chaeto, is because it looks cleaner, it's a tighter knot, you know, it's a ball, whatever.
Well, actually, one of the things that I find that's been kind of nice with just the Chaeto Reactor is it keeps your sump super clean because you don't have stuff growing everywhere. It's all contained. So if I do a turf scrubber, I'll probably build it like an acrylic box type of thing and give it its own little containment chamber.
Yeah, like a Santa Monica, right? Or one of the HOGs, right?
Yep.
Algae Turf Scrubber, the 2 or Hog 1, whatever.
I thought about buying one, but I think I'm going to DIY it just because I think it'd be a great video to do.
Yeah, I've ran. This is for Loke. I've ran Chaeto and Calerpa both at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the only thing, once again, like Calerpa, it's a very good algae. You do got to watch it going asexual and stuff like that. And I've ran it for, I don't know, a number of years. I've always used Chaeto and Calerpa, but I eventually got rid of the Calerpa. I'm very happy with just running Chaeto. But you know, I also have a big means of exporting nutrients too. I've always had that, but
Yep.
the asexual part of it, you know, going asexual, I just didn't too much care. Not that my system couldn't handle it if it all took a crap, but just for that reason. But either one, I mean, it's pretty much up to you what you want to do.
Yeah. Why add another variable for a potential problem? And
There you go.
I
Yeah.
agree with that. You know, why add more stuff that you don't know what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
You know, or it's a ticking time bomb. Why would you add that to your system again?
Mm-hmm.
I know that
exactly.
Now, question: when you say was it the Chaeto or Calorpa?
Clerpa.
The Colopo go sexual?
Yeah,
Asexual.
Was it,
asexual.
It
what's
releases
Right.
the
gametes. Yeah, it
it
releases the
releases
gametes
what?
back into the water and tries to reproduce. And that's where a lot of people start getting Clerpa in their main display tank is after that, because then you start getting what they call little zygotes that actually settle out in your main tank, and then it starts growing from there.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, huh, never knew that. I just kept
It's
hearing them say,
it's
you
also
don't want to go sexual, you
Well,
want to keep the light on.
you
Like, why?
know no Barry White here. No Barry White for you.
That's the secret to keeping it there.
yeah. I don't think Chris has hit to that Barry White yet. Are you, Chris?
What's that?
That's the secret to coral
Barry
propagation, right?
White.
Oh, nah,
Underwater
nah.
speakers.
Sorry. Oh man,
When?
but
Now?
no, it's
Okay, okay.
a very rare stride
You totally cut out there,
that
Cruz.
he did his stride. What was that?
Oh, you totally cut out the last 5-6 seconds.
Oh, sorry about that.
But yeah,
Yeah, what I was saying is, once you hit your stride, the hobby is very, very rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
There's no words to describe how satisfying it is to where you could actually grow almost anything.
It's true. Like
yeah.
I was
I have to
up and
agree.
down up until like Christmas-ish, January. Then since then, my tanks has been happy ever since. But yeah, I've definitely been there up, down issues. It's doing great, stuff dies. But lately, everything's just been happy since the spring. So I mean, I'm at a good place now, which is happy. I love it. But yeah, it takes a while. Once you're there, it's all good. Life is good again.
Absolutely.
I
Mhm.
think I've always said this: the longer you can have the system up and running,
The
and
success.
you can fine tune it and have it stable, the more season it gets, the better off it is.
Amen.
Yep, it's true.
Amen. And for the people that are going out trying different salts, oh wow.
Oh,
You know,
here we go. Here we go.
Yep.
yeah, 1 week they're on Fritz, 1 week they're on Salinity, and the next week they're doing another water change with something else. And I'm like, holy crap.
What is this? What is the stability you speak
Yeah,
of?
it's been this cruise because I mean, it's been lighting and salt, and
Mhm.
and then third with the Triton stuff, or
Mhm.
or what is it, the Devin, what was it, the
Oh, there's many of these random
Oh,
topics.
yeah, there's
yeah, but let's just throw those out there. But it's
Yeah.
all
that's yeah.
One
There's
quick.
just
you can't keep changing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dev.
Just one quick. Just want to throw it in there before it scrolls away. Ale's asking if you had tangs, would it eat the zygotes that start growing into the plants in the display? So I think he's asking if the algae, if it gets into the tank, will your tangs eat it? Depends on the tang, but likely they'll eat a lot of it.
My tanks eat everything.
yeah, anything that's green typically, but
Mhm.
the caveat is it depends on how much you feed your tanks
Yeah.
and whether or not they only want myces, whether or not they only want
There you
foods,
go.
or whether or not they
Mhm.
only want seaweed sheets.
Yeah.
Once again, you bought them for a reason. You bought them to do a job, as a cleanup crew to make sure that your tank is, spick and span. Don't overfeed them, otherwise they won't go back to grazing in, their
Well,
wild,
yeah.
wild nature.
Hmm. I have no algae, so
So
I have to feed them lots to keep them happy.
exactly.
I
So
mean,
I mean,
I would rip out Calerpa, even the Chaeto. I'll throw that in my main display. They eat it. I just give a variety of things, and they'll go back to picking at the rocks, picking at the glass, picking at overflow box. I mean, they never stop.
Hmm.
yep, and
My fish
that's
never
what.
stop.
And you notice that after the bubbling, that they started grazing even more and a lot more eagerly, right?
Hmm.
I couldn't tell you on that one because they just always been like
Those
that. They
pigs, huh?
just
Yeah.
They just pick. It does not matter.
Yeah. So
That's good.
I mean, I'll feed heavily, and it's not like they go in their little bat cave and turn on TV and sit there for a while. They'll go after it's all gone. They'll go right back to the rocks and cruising and picking. And I'm like,
Yep.
man, dude, you're gonna give yourself a break. You know, calm down a little bit. But they just keep eating.
No, keep eating.
yeah.
That's
So
yeah,
An-
that's their work regimen. Just keep eating.
yeah. So Andrew is asking, can
Keep
gobies be in
eating.
the gravel, or does it have to be the sand? So there's sand sifting gobies that eat the sand, and those guys definitely do because they filter feed the sand through their mouth. If it's just a
Yep.
regular goby though, they're fine in coarser gravel, but most of them
Yep.
burrow, so you don't want to go too big, too coarse if you want to keep those guys.
Yeah, exactly. There's a type of sand, what they call special grade, and it kind of hits both.
Hey, that's what I got.
The heavier particles kind of tend to settle out towards the bottom, anyways, and you get a nice layer of sand that's a medium-sized grit, than a little bit more coarse than the sugar sand.
Yeah, that's actually what I have, and I do like it. It works pretty well. I mean, my power head still blow it around a bit, but for the most part, it stays.
Yeah,
fairly
it settles
in
out, right?
Yeah.
It settles out in certain areas.
place.
But yeah, other than that, it's once again, the special grade gives you a nice balance between. I like to always, in this hobby especially, I like to fall in between. For my baseline, I like to do everything. How do you say it? Very, very conservative.
Yeah. Well, it gives you room for a little bit each way, right? Rather than pushing it to the edge and then going past it, and then you bugger up something.
Hey, I got a question for you, Cruz. Just your thoughts, just for other people. Obviously, I'm not using it, but and I if you can be honest, whatever. If you can't, do you? But the whole thing with this ick stuff, man, ick, and then people are trying to use kick ick, rally, all this other stuff. Now, we ain't here to try to badmouth anybody, but what's your opinion on it? Just for obviously, this is just one of the talks that's been going on for a while now, right, Dev?
Oh yes, this is a recurring theme.
Okay,
yes.
Well, some of the products, they have what we would call almost immediate observable improvements, but it doesn't really take care of the entire problem. Do you know what I'm saying? Interrupting portions of the ick life
cycle.
So temporarily band-aids it, but doesn't get rid of it.
Exactly. So I mean, some of these, some of the other products, they say that run it for X amount of friggin' time and you won't have ick ever again. I haven't really seen. I haven't really seen it 100% successful. You know what I'm saying? There's still a lot of gray areas. Kind of like what is that called? Like the different dinoflagellates. There's more than just one type. Everybody kind of groups them all together, and they go, "Oh yeah, there's only one type, and it's called ick." No, it's not. There's different parasites that exudes the same characteristics as what we would call typical ick. The ones that we had, say, about 15 years ago.
Yeah. So,
but now, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I may have just been lucky, but just throwing this out there, I always say this: whenever I buy a fish, I haven't bought any fish online, so this only works for in person. But I will literally sit in the store for 20 minutes and stare at the fish in the tank and all the other fishes in the same area, and make sure none of them look sick. Like, make sure there's no cloudiness to the eyes, make sure there's no speck spots, there's no like gashes or liaisons or anything on the fish, and just make sure you're getting a really healthy fish to start with. Like, in my freshwater days, I've lost stuff to ick, but my saltwater, I've never had an ick in my tank. I've never lost something, but I'm also very diligent on what I buy, and I think that's made a huge difference. So I think prevention is like half of the battle right there. So just throw that out there. If you guys are buying stuff, like, take the time, sit there for half an hour, and just really watch the fish and make sure it looks good to start with, and just save yourself the headache.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is that they need to know what they're looking at. And not to go with the gut humanitarian feeling. Oh, he's dying. I've got to save him, because once again, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle with that fish. Trying to get him back to healthy. At that time where they're all wasted away, it's very, very hard. To this point, to try to bring them back from that.
Well, to me, you're just going to bring someone home sick and hurt your other fish. So that's not even humanitarian. You're just asking for a headache. So if I even see one sick fish, I'm like, nope, come back in a month later. I don't trust it right now. So
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's what the hobby, still is, when it comes down to fish is, trial and error. Do I get the right fish? Does my freaking angel beauty coral, is he freaking picking on my freaking corals? Yes or no? I mean, some do, some don't.
Yep.
It really depends on the fish. So I mean, it's really hard. It depends on where they're freaking collected, what strain that they're from, because not all coral beauty angels are all the same. They might look the same. They might have the same color markings, but they're not all collected in the same area. And, diversity is nature's way of actually enabling a species to survive. So some might like picking on freaking corals. Other ones like picking on actual food particles.
Yep.
And I wish more people would say something like that, even in the forums that you read. You read some about, like, you type in a question about, will an angelfish pick at my coral, and you get some of them that say, well, I had one for 2 years and it's never picked at my coral. And then you have someone that says, don't get it because I bought one and it picked at my coral instantly, and stuff like
Well,
that.
On
that's
that
what you
note,
heard me say, Chris.
yeah.
A million times you heard me say, it's like you have 5 kids, right? You have five
Yeah.
kids. Do you think all 5 of your kids are going to all act the same? No.
No, it's not.
So the fish, they got their mind of their own. Some are going to do things that, put them in that, list with caution. It's a hit and miss.
Yep.
At the end of the day, but I do get what you're saying.
But yeah, you're hit the nail on the head. Every fish is different, right? Like, everyone's its own personality. Some have a taste for it, some don't. And, like your kids, one could be an angel, the next one could be a little devil, right? Like, it's when they say wish caution, it usually means that exactly, right? It's Russian roulette. You maybe get a great one, you may get a little bugger that's gonna nip at your corals. In the chat, Super Yellow Tang, question: I've heard that fish already have ick in them, and stress brings out. Is this true? I'm going to say possibly. There likely is some in most systems, and stress is the biggest thing that causes a fish to get sick. So,
yeah, I think that's what happened to my hippo tank. When I bought it, tank raised and everything, but 2 days later, I put it in my tank, and next thing I know, I see the white spots on it.
See, there's differences between white spot and ick. And I know that a lot of people get them confused. I know that a lot of people kind of correlate. And ick is more of a parasite. And
you're a bit choppy there again, Cruz. There you go. You're back.
About that. Okay, sorry about that.
Yep.
Yeah, ick is more of like a crab. Wait, hold on.
You're like, and the secret of life is.
Yeah, it's like.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yep.
Okay, I'm not going to move. I'm going to stop walking.
Okay.
Yeah, ick is an invertebrate. It's like a crab, a shrimp, like lice, what I call fish lice. It's once again, it's an analogy of what I could actually relate it to is lice. And yeah, you expose one to another. There's are there any bugs and stuff living on our skin? Absolutely. Can we see them all?
Oh, yeah.
Dust mites, skin mites, whatever? No, not really, but they're there. A lot of things that are like microscopic, and kind of like what you said, there's a point in time where when an organism is stressed, fish, coral, whatever, that's when these parasites start taking advantage of the situation.
Now, a few minutes ago, you were saying that a lot of people confuse white spot and ick. Is there any really easy ways to distinguish the two for people?
Yeah, there is, but I'm going to have to show you. Really, really hard to describe, but you could definitely see it on the formation. You could actually see reddening and actual exposed flesh when it's an ick. It's basically a fish louse. And yeah, and white spots to me is more like herpes.
Okay, so it's more like a bump on the skin.
It's
I don't know how else to describe it, but the ick is more of an
like
infestation.
an open wound, like a I don't know. I consider like the white like a scab almost, but like open wound. That like when you see the actual white spot.
Yeah. Because when my
I guess am I describing it right there, Cruz?
Yeah, yeah. It's more of a bite.
Right.
You know, it looks like like a lesion cut.
So basically, when my hippo when I lost my hippo, when I pulled it out the tank, the spots turned black. Like you can see on the scale on the scales, there was black spots. Even on my Antheus that I had, it had black spots on it from where the white spots were. So is that considered the lesion on them, or or is that something?
Yeah, well, it's kind of like like when you do get sick, you get sick. You get one thing after another, right, Rico? I'm kidding.
Yeah. 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 No.
So when your immune system is already depressed and you can't fight it off naturally, like say you're stressed, your freaking slime coat isn't, you're not producing enough slime coat to actually get rid of this ick issue. And then all of a sudden white spot comes in because you are sick, because your immunity is already low and depreciated. So once it becomes depressed like that, you're going to have a slew of problems that follow. You're going to get pop eye, you're going to see this, you're going to see clouding, you're going to see, pretty much every single freaking symptom out there, that starts coming from a sick fish.
Yeah.
And it's just
now
one.
Now they say now with that garlic, the feed, the type of food you feed, like the garlic that builds the immune system up, would that contribute to greater success in preventing it?
Well,
I don't say it builds a. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a myth to certain things that people were claiming, and I think that's where it got a lot of skeptics poking at the validity of actually utilizing allicin as an antibiotic and also a parasite remover. You're not, the fish isn't eating the garlic. Let's just make that very, very clear. They don't eat the garlic. They, it's in the water column. It's the chemical allicin, ALLICIN, that actually fights a lot of the parasites. It's found in wormers. It's found in a lot of stuff that we utilize for cattle, horses, pigs, chickens, whatever. And if it works there, why isn't it going to work in our reef tank? It's part of nature, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, to get rid of parasites, why wouldn't allicin work? And not only that, but it's known to be a very, very good source of vitamin C. So once the bacteria actually breaks down, whatever is in the garlic and turns it into its organics, its organic building blocks, vitamin C too, vitamin A and vitamin, I believe, let's see, vitamin A, vitamin B, a couple of other vitamins too, and vitamin C. So yeah, people are forgetting, and they're only isolating raw garlic. They're not seeing the breakdown of bacteria, that bacteria has on it and what it actually brings it out to, what it breaks it down to.
So, I actually just get a whole clove of garlic and really mince it up to really fine. I put it in the food mix that I make, and I feed it to them. So I mean, like I said, go ahead.
Business actually made a comment I kind of agree with. He says more food equals higher immune system. I kind of agree with that actually. Like I know I overfeed my fish. If they're fat and healthy,
I feed a lot.
Yeah, they're going to be fat and healthy. They're going to be they're gonna be happier, right? If they're skinny and underfed, they're gonna be more
less
susceptible,
stress.
weaker immune system.
Is there constant?
But make sure you let people know. Like, I feed a variety. I just don't give them McDonald's from every day, all
Big Mac
day.
for you.
They get a variety of food. One food is not going to cover. I feel to cover from A to Z.
Diversity.
And the fact that we're not down there scuba diving. I mean, yeah, we would go scuba diving, but we're not living with them, so we don't know exactly all that they will eat or pick up or what. We have an idea, and that's what it's based off of, but that's not good enough for me. It never has. So that's why I feed as much different varieties of food that if one food doesn't have something, then this one might. And by that, I've always had great success with fish as well, and not losing fish or my whole system to wipeouts to whatever the cause may be, so it's something to keep in mind. I know a lot of people only feed frozen food, mices or whatever, or just pellets or just flakes. I think people need to get off that kick and feed a variety of food and get those fish nice and healthy. And then, yeah, they're going to be nice, thick fish, but a lot of flow in the tank keeps them moving. So they're always exercising too. So there you go.
Absolutely. And, it goes back to the whole thing about should I do this or should I do that? And it's not a one or the other, not in this hobby. And I tend to not adopt.
Right.
Variety is the spice of life. It's good to mix it up.
It's always
for real.
Exactly. But once again, you have to know what you're doing.
True.
You have to know what you're trying to mix up.
Don't take that advice. Rico doesn't actually feed Big Macs to his tank.
No, I was, I'm just using it because me. I've always explained things as,
it's a good analogy.
But just think about it. If you just ate Big Macs all day, every day, well, let's see what your health is going to be like. It's one type of food, basically one type of food. Let's see what your immune system's going to do. Let's see how you would feel, or So it's that.
You're making me realize how bad I am, because normally they get a sheet of nori and then mysis at night.
I know what you do. I wasn't trying to put you under the bus, though, Dev.
No. That's just me considering it. I'm like, I guess I do feed that pretty consistently. I have like a big bin full of like 6 different kinds of pellets I've just thrown in there. So every once in a while I throw some in, but frozen and nori is the daily staple. The other stuff, once in a while, I mix it up. I should mix it up more, though.
You're doing that, but in a different way. You're mixing it up. You're feeding different things.
Yeah.
A lot of the dried food isn't made the same either. So
I literally just dumped them all and mixed them in a container and shook it up, because I'm like, I have too many containers. This special surprise whenever you throw some in.
Special surprise.
Yeah. Hey, they eat it. It's all that matters.
It's kind of like you want to find. I think like most of us newcomers, like I don't know if I can speak for a lot of newcomers, but me personally, as a newcomer to the hobby, trying different things is really not. It's kind of is not boring. But then again, it's like, damn, when can I find the right food for, what I'm trying to do? And you get on these blogs and you get on these vlogs and you get on YouTube and these forums and stuff. And, I feed my fish only this, I feed my coral only this, and then you gotta,
that's why you.
Yeah,
I get it. But times has changed. So like these live streams and these actual live talks and hearing a lot of people's different opinions and stuff like that. That's what it's here for, to help get people to said, because you can't always believe what you read. You know what I mean? You got to get people on here to show what they're doing. I think Crew said something earlier about, showing or something. I can't remember the conversation, but
hands on showing.
Go ahead. Yeah. I mean, how do you talk about something if you can't show it and prove what you're doing? How many times I've been on a live stream and dumped a half a bottle of fuel in my tank and to feed tons of food and whatnot in one setting. Do you see my system? pooping back on itself and growing all kinds of nuisance algae or anything like that. No, the corals are vibrant, look good. Everything's running. But then again, it's the design of the tank, designed how I have it set up, how it's run. A lot of people, I think, need to start off when they get into the hobby learning first finding out exactly what they want and do more research on design and exporting and stuff like that. And then I think a lot more people will have better success in the hobby getting those things first and then slowly working. You got to work on one thing, you got to work on part A, then when you master that, hit part B, part C, so forth and so forth.
I think you hit on a good point there too. Like for the second part of, so to prevent issues and illnesses and different things, like one of the things we were saying is it's good to feed lots, right? But at the same time, if you're feeding tons to your tank, you also got to be able to export those extra nutrients you're adding in.
Bingo.
So, there you go.
You got to make sure you have a good skimmer or a turf scrubber or a Chaeto or something to absorb those extra nutrients from feeding lots.
Or all three.
Yeah, or everything, right? It's a team effort of each little piece does a part, so it all adds up.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's the bad part about it. I don't think how we just said this right now. I don't think people can't think that far in advance, though. You know what I mean? To think about it, to hear somebody say, "Well, dang, Rico feeds all this, so I'm going to do it." They're not thinking about that exporting method, or how am I going to combat what's going to happen because I'm going to start doing what somebody else does. So I'm glad we're talking about that because now people that are listening, you got almost 50 people listening. So you got to remember when you change one thing, well, for everything you do, there's always go ahead, say it.
Yeah, there's always a reaction.
Go ahead, say
thing that you do. There's always another
reaction. Exactly. So, I mean, you got to remember, like, if you got a brilliant idea and you want to tweak something, think it really through before you start messing with something.
And also know how to back out from it.
Yep.
You have to know how to back out from it.
I think that's the main one. I don't think people back out.
Well, what I've seen is they knee-jerk react and then they do a water change because it seems like
water change is like your reset button and 50% water change
because that's all you hear. For me, that's all you hear is well, you did this. Where the first in the holler is, how often are you changing your water? How often are you changing your water? How often are you changing your water?
Yeah. On that note, though, water changes are a form of nutrient export, right? So that is one thing to say. I mean, you can use big skimmers, you can use Chaeto reactors, algae turf scrubbers. All these things do is reduce your need for water changes, but they're all just a different way of exporting nutrients.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, when you get on BRS and you look at their videos and their science and their experiments and stuff, like the latest one that I looked at was the refugium, as far as Chaeto and Calopra and stuff like that, and the type of lights you use. Because I think Dale, I think your video popped up too when I was looking at reef lights, refugium lights, and they was like, well, it's just a lot of people use refugiums, as a main part of exports.
Yep.
And it reduces the amount of water change that you do, depending on the light, depending on the growth of the Chaeto or the Calorpa and stuff like that. And so everybody's in this hunt to find a cure. It's kind of like trying to find a cure for HIV. Everybody's trying to find a cure for water change to not have to do a water change in a tank.
Yep.
I don't know if there's a care to it. It's just don't do it. Have it set up and run, and you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, some people might argue that. I don't know. You need to do a water change. You don't need to do a water change. Well, I don't feel like you really need to do a water change. I mean, you're kind of in a way doing a water change because, like, for me, I'm evaporating gallons and gallons a day of water out of my system. It's being replenished, not with salt. The salt's not leaving, but fresh water is being added to the system. I mean, calcium reactors dosing trace elements back into the water. I'm actually putting other stuff back in the water. I'm testing potassium, iodine, strontium. I mean, all these other things. Then there's things that you can't test for. I mean, you can go to do the ICP test, but whatever. There's things that ain't going to be available for you.
And remember this
I
too,
mean,
if I may, Rico, is that foods,
miracle mud.
actually, those also have nutrients in it as well, and trace
Yeah,
trace minerals.
exactly. I mean, think about the frozen foods. Like like the prepared foods and stuff and rinsing the foods. I don't rinse my meaty foods.
No,
I'm not rinsing away stuff that my tank needs
That's coral
in the
food right
first
there.
place. And people,
Yep.
that's all kinds of food. That's vitamins, mineral. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff in that you're just
fish
flushing money down the drain.
Whenever I feed frozen, I have never rinsed in my life. I feed all the big stuff to the fish first, and all the little tiny bits left over, that's the stuff I squirted all my corals after. That's prime coral food right there.
Yep, the juice. As we
That's good stuff.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. They talk about abrasive on your aquarium. If it's there for a reason. It makes sense. Why rinse it off? I mean, if they put it there, it's been tested, it's been proven, for them to sell, and obviously they're still on the market. So obviously, it works or whatever,
Yep.
So I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. The only thing that you don't worry about is the preservatives. If there's any quote unquote preservatives in these frozen fish, you know what I'm saying, or frozen foods.
Right.
The only thing that you really have to worry about is, are there any additives to keep the color of whatever I'm feeding bright? Do I really need?
Right.
It's not.
But if you're making and you're going straight to fresh caught stuff, you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about the preservatives. You know what I mean? So that's what I buy. Go to the sushi market, grab fresh clams, oyster, cuttlefish, everything that's fresh, no preservatives. Clams opened up, show it's a sign of death. Guess what? They get picked, they thrown out to the trash. That kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I just look at stuff like that, man. You don't need a water change. I don't feel, like I said, there's people that's going to argue that point, but
yeah,
I mean, can prove it.
If your nutrient export isn't keeping up, then water changes are necessary.
Exactly. There you go.
But if you're maintaining it, your water's good. Why are you changing out your water blindly? And that's one of the things that we've seen too, is people would be doing a water change like clockwork, and they don't really need to. Their levels are all good, and then all of a sudden, after a water change, it's all wacko.
Well, what about the people? What about the people that do the water change crews, but didn't test their tank? See, they didn't test, or they didn't test the new salt that they're mixing and making sure it's matching the levels that the tank's been stable and running at. What about that? There's a lot of people that don't do that. They just mix their salts with Pacific gravity, and that's it.
Yep. And what about what we call blind water change? We don't believe in doing a blind water change if we don't have any issues.
Right?
It's an issue before we actually do a complete water change. But it's
like when I lost them tanks last week.
Yeah.
The first thing came in my mind was I need to do a water change. So I went and got another 10 gallons of I went and got 10 gallons of tropic Marin, and I went and I went and got a 5-gallon jug of RO, and then I went and had but then I said some told me just to stop and said, well, let me get my water tested to see if anything's wrong with my water. And they tested my water. And even I tested my water, and I didn't see anything, different as far as parameters. And when I went to the LFS, to the quote unquote experts, and they was like, "Hey, your water is perfectly fine. Like, I don't see anything wrong with your water. With the exception of you maybe have, like, you have readings of nitrates, but that's it. I don't think that would be the cause for the death of your two fish.
Nope.
And so I'm like, well, it was something because it was just, what was it, Rico? When I showed y'all my tank, I had both my tanks just swimming around.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then next
Mm-hmm.
thing you know, I woke up the next morning and there they were, just belly up, as Nemo would say.
Yeah. Belly up.
Yep.
Yeah. It's always tough when when we're trying to diagnose it, and there's a lot of internet experts out there too
Mm-hmm.
that try to diagnose your tank just by words.
One
And
Yeah.
one thing I do want to throw out there, if you guys are panic water changing or doing anything else, make sure your water change water is very similar parameters to your water. Because I mean,
amen.
That's what we just said
yeah,
when you
okay,
walked away.
figures. Yeah, because I know like I use reef crystals, right? And that's elk of 11. I keep mine 8.5. So if I did a giant water change, I could potentially shock half my corals and cause myself way more issues. So this is
Yep.
something that you
Absolutely.
should consider.
Yep. Absolutely. And
And
just
for
because,
somebody like me,
Yep. Oh,
Good
go
thing
ahead.
you already said it.
go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I
No,
was
I
gonna
was
say,
gonna say. So somebody, go ahead.
oh, we have a lag. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Is that what it is? I was like, what's going on?
You guys are so Canadian. You're so
No,
courteous.
yeah, no. I was gonna say, if somebody like me, right?
Mhm.
If I wanted to do a small water change, I could do a blind. It's not
Mhm.
gonna hurt. I got a big calcium reactor, but
Yep.
once again, it's like if you hear somebody like me or Cruz or somebody that's been doing stuff a long time, and you're kind of questioning something or you're wondering why we say this, but we go do this, you got to take in consideration the years of experience, maybe the equipment, the stuff that we're using on these systems as well. So, I don't want to confuse anybody,
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, very, very good point, Rico. Some of these
Yeah. Let's
things that
say,
we do, we take for granted, being that
Hmm.
we've been doing it for a long time. We know how to read our corals. We know how to read our system. We know how our fish act normally.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's, once again, telltale signs, once you're with a person for a while, you tend to know their freaking bad habits, their good habits, their bad habits, whatever. The thing is,
Hmm.
it's an art still. It's an art form being able to notice these things. It's not just a checklist. Do you know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
For everybody that's listening, it's not just a checklist. It's not it's not a tax form. This is the living art. It's a palette for you to actually play around with. And everybody.
Yeah, and Than said it too in one of the videos that I brought up or did the whatchamacallit about, because he's got a lot of years in this hobby too. And what
Mhm.
Cruz is just talking about, that eye and what you've heard me say a million times, letting the corals talk to me and I see a person that never, that's new to the hobby looks at all coral, man, that looks good. But an experienced person like us, no, there's a parasite on that coral. That coral, something's going on with that coral. It doesn't look right. We
Yeah.
we have that eye to do that, but that takes time to develop that stuff. It's not that I told you I'm not crazy. I'm glad Cruz said it. I'm actually glad that Dan said it in his video about
Mhm.
stuff. Just looking at stuff, we know when things are off. We don't need anymore the tools to tell us something's off.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
But
Mhm.
it's one of those things that
and
come with experience. So I mean, I think you got to be a year or two into the
yeah,
hobby until you fully know what things should look
you
like to
do
be able to tell when it doesn't look like
right.
what it should. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Uh huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it's not
Just
just.
the whole alkalinity.
Yeah. Go ahead.
One more thing, the whole alkalinity thing. People hear me say a million times. I only test alkalinity. Because alkalinity tells me everything that I need to know. And
Mm-hmm.
when that's off, then I know other things are off. When you agree, Cruz? Like, I mean,
One affects the other. It's
Yeah.
always a synergistic
exactly.
balance.
I agree
Everything.
for
There you go.
90% of the time. I would say I'd say 80% of the time I only test elk, but every once in a while I just do like a full test just to like make sure you
Yeah.
get that baseline. So yeah.
That's what we do too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
I've done full
Okay.
test since I started these live streams just to show you guys that it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like phosphates and nitrates. Like, I mean, like you guys know, like I never really tested those things just because
Yeah.
didn't need to. I know I didn't need to.
No, but I
Go
mean,
ahead.
you kind of brought up a good point earlier, Rico, about oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. About having the experience. You can't read all the books all at once
Mm-hmm.
and try to
Right.
understand and say that I'm an expert, because you know what, out of everything that I've read, I probably only retain about 20%. Until I read it again. Do you know what I'm
Right.
saying? I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
we skim over things. We don't really dig into it because we just don't have enough time in this life, to really, really get into all the nooks and crannies of science.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
in this hobby.
Yep.
So, I mean,
Something
yeah,
Frank
go ahead.
just said in the chat too. He says corals and fish talk to you. Best advice: observe your tank every day, including your equipment. Which is true. You just
Yep.
every day.
I
Like
think
most people do it
are,
anyways. But you just observe, and then
yeah.
after a while you'll know exactly what things look like when you see something changing. Okay, so what's up with it?
That doesn't mean only observe in the wintertime for those that live in cold climates and stuck at their tanks and then want to work on them. I mean, it's 24/7. It's
Mm-hmm.
all the time. You can't be a sometime reefer because now summer's here, so you want to go live out on your yacht at in Lake Erie or Lake Michigan or Florida Keys or something and think that you're going to know or learn a lot. You have to really observe your tank all the time.
It's a hands-on.
We watch.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
it's a
watch Sabella
hobby.
fella. I think he's OCD. He's in the live stream and he doesn't move from in front of that tank the whole time. Unless it's to go get a pack of cigarettes or something.
Very
So,
fun.
I mean, that's dedication right there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh heck yeah! I mean, take a look at his corals. They do speak for themselves as well.
Eggs. There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. And because of that, look what he's got. There it
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
I mean, once again, I've made that comment to him, is that he's got one of the cleanest freaking systems in freaking hobby that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, that's really clean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. But once again, with that whole experience, just bringing it back to the experience level, is there's so much information out there for the entire system, lighting, flow, skimmers, this and that it does become overwhelming to a freaking a new hobbyist. And the thing is, start slow.
Mm-hmm.
You're not in a rush. This isn't a race. This isn't a race to freaking frag and sell.
Well, I think that's the hard part. Most people want it to be when they start new. They're like, "Oh, this amazing tank! I want it all. I want it now." I think
Yeah.
that's where most
Yeah.
people get into trouble is because they try
Yep.
and do too much too quick, rather than
Exactly.
do one thing, learn how it works, see what happens, then do your next thing, rather than
Yep.
trying to jump it all. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. No, you hit the nail on the head, and you really explained that well in just that little sentence right there.
Mm-hmm.
People are in a hurry, and the hobby should be a lot more relaxing, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
than stressful. It shouldn't be stressful.
I know I'm terrible for overthinking things, and I was really bad in the beginning. You go crazy over everything, but you slowly learn to take it easy,
to chill.
Enjoy it, relax.
It's kind of like the way that Rico is, chill, laid back.
Mm-hmm.
He knows
Man,
that.
after you done spent thousands and thousands and thousands out the gate when you first starting off in this hobby, and you can get your head cracked, you'll sit back and relax in this recliner like I am, and let the tank do what it's gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that goes back to natural reefing too.
Mm-hmm.
The natural form of reefing is the lazy man's way of reefing. Lazy not meaning
Mm-hmm.
you don't keep your tank up, but lazy as in setting it up right the first time so that it could actually take care of itself the natural way.
There you go.
Every time we try to build a skyscraper, guess what? Mother Nature always tries to freaking wreck it, right?
Yep.
She always tries to break it down,
Mm-hmm.
and this and that. Anytime we build something, Mother Nature always tries to freaking level it out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, good way of putting it.
Yep, and that's one of the reasons why, in our systems, or the majority of our systems, we're running it very, very naturally. Running our freaking part-time. Because it lengthens the life of the freaking skimmer and the pump.
So you only run yours part-time? I used to do that actually on my previous tank, but that was mainly because it was loud. I only ran it at night. This one I'd just make it super dry skim, let it run 24 hours. But
absolutely. But I mean, you could, instead of in lieu of that, you could also still run it dry, not as dry, but dry, and then only 6 hours a day, and you'll still get the same pull out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Once again, it is preference. I know that everybody's hobby, it's their money, it's their, it's their tank. So, the only thing I could do is speak from my experience, from my point of view. Once again, it is an opinion. And for all those that are listening, ultimately you need to friggin', figure out, do you want a high maintenance tank? Do you want a low maintenance tank, but beautiful? And be able to actually choose and pick the corals and fish to actually, that fit your lifestyle.
And I think that's a big important thing right there, because, when I go to the LFS or I look at other people's tanks and stuff like that, I'm like, that's a cool coral, or that's a cool looking fish, but I want that. But at the same time, you see all these different, like as CJ say, you see all this different candy, and you're like, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. But the stuff you want, once you start learning about it, it won't go together. So then you have to pick and choose. You're kind of torn in between. What do you want? Do you want a predominantly SPS tank, or do you want an SPS and LPS tank, which that comes with caution, because that now you got a mixed reef.
And it's
now you're really
pretty hard to keep. But I wanted to apologize to you guys before I get cut off. I only have 1% left on my phone.
Oh no, that happens. Fair enough. It's a problem with these streams, for mobile. I have that issue like all the time.
It sounded like me when I got on with Rico the first time. My damn phone went dead.
After like an hour, you're like, "Where's my battery? I discharged it." Yeah.
Right.
But
I think he cut out.
That's some good information that he was giving.
Might have lost him. Another thing I want to throw out there.
I also wanted to.
I was going to
say, I was hoping he didn't cut out, because I don't know if you were able to talk to a lot of these people that are here on the stream about what we're trying to do about that form.
Yep. Haven't yet. I will throw it out. One quick advice I want to give out there. When people are new and starting out, another thing I'd like to say is don't implement, say, 3 or 4 things at once. Pick one and let it run for a few weeks before you add something else. You can see the effect it has. Because otherwise, if you try and add too many things at once and something happens, you won't know which one's the culprit or which one's the cause. So it's kind of a way of singling it out for dealing with any issues that may pop up. Yeah.
Rico pointed out to me about this coral that I still have not identified yet. He said I moved it too quick.
Okay.
I think it's like what I said. What, 3 days, Rico? I had it sitting in that one corner, and ever since then I haven't touched it. So.
So what Rico was saying earlier about the form we're building, this is kind of almost like a Kickstarter in a way. I'm just gonna say how we're kind of doing it. We're doing a form called ReefTubers, or ReefTuber, and it's going to be kind of a message board that's very video centric, and it's going to be tons of great information for all like new people. So a good place to share all your videos and everything else. And then for the YouTubers, there's going to be like the free section of all like the general content, and then like there's the premium section. It won't be very expensive, basically just a bit to cover all the costs and hosting and advertising, that type of stuff. And it's going to be more dedicated to YouTubers and all types of stuff around how to make videos, how to promote your stuff, and give you kind of tools, maybe find sponsors. Hopefully we can get discounts on tools and software and other stuff. So it's going to be all around that. So it's still in the works. We bought the domain name. We set up the core stuff for the forum. Now we're looking for a template. So this is kind of the start of something that will be awesome. So it's going to be a really awesome reefing video-centric forum with hopefully we're going to have tools for like you want to see a coral, what kind of lighting, what kind of stuff does it like, but it's not just going to be high flow. It's going to be like, okay, these people have had it at this flow, this calcium, this alk, and it's done great. So you can kind of see more detailed information. So I think it's going to be a lot more valuable information. And then similar thing with fish. So these are different ideas we're throwing around. Probably something like BRS has their calculator. So hopefully we can do a version of that, of dosing type calculators, but find a way to make it better. So that plus on the creator side of the thing, like the member exclusive membership kind of YouTube creator, you got to have a YouTube channel, and we're going to set up a few things for this. This is going to be the private side of the forum, and it's going to give you guys deals and discounts, information all about how to help you build your YouTube community brand, that type of stuff. So it's in the works, but it's going to be good. I'm super excited for it. It's all the wheels already rolling on it. We just came up with this idea just the other day, so I'm excited for it. If anyone does have questions about it or they want to know more, let me know in the chat, and we can definitely dig into it deeper. But so far, it's going to be good.
Yeah, I don't know. Did anybody get back to you on the template that you put out?
There was 3 or 4 that I have linked in a notepad. Most of them are darker themed. That was what the extent
Okay,
of
good.
It.
All
yeah.
right.
But
all right.
I'm open for pretty much anything. I just want to see what you guys like. So. And just so you guys know, it was a paid form. I've used free forms in the faster websites, but the problem is most of them end up getting ridden with spam after a while and different things. So we're using the same backend that Reef to Reef and the Frag Tank and a few of those other sites are running. So it's been kind of a proven successful one. So should be good. Don't have a Kickstarter webpage. No, we don't. Literally ended up just being a bit of some PayPal kind of donations to help fund it. What I'm thinking of doing, because it is going to be the free section and there's going to be like a paid membership. I don't really know the pricing yet. We're throwing around like $20 a year or something. We don't want it to be expensive. We want it to be cheap enough for people to do it. But at the same time, it costs money for the servers and you got to pay so much a year for the scripts and everything. So it's just to cover the cost mainly. And
yep.
So that's going to be that. And the other part of that is to weed out people that are just going to spam and do stuff. So, and that's going to be where all like the juicy stuff is, but that's targeted for people with YouTube channels that are putting out content and want to build their brands. And hopefully we can get stuff for sponsors and discounts and stuff. That's kind of the thing. So there's going to be both sides of it. Sorry, what were you going to say there, Rico?
Yeah.
Bye.
I don't. I guess we'll do like monthly like maybe tank of the month, and as it grows and things come in, and it just so people know, it's nobody's like any money that's acquired for the site is strictly for the site, just so you guys know. It's not for Dev's pocket, my pocket, or anything like that. It's for the site, to maintain the site, Dev to add, put like tools, or maybe do fun stuff be able to do fun stuff with the site. Maybe grab gift cards and stuff for potential winner, maybe take it a month type thing, maybe like $20-25 like BRS or something like that, just so you guys know that it's going to be like legitimate. We're gonna so
any of the donations so far, because I know a bunch of people are excited about it the other day and threw some cash at it, which is thank you guys, greatly appreciated. What that's going for is basically paying for the back end, the scripts, the domain name, that type of stuff. And same thing, like we're gonna add a template. Like we could probably DIY one, but that would take like 20 hours versus just spending $50 and buying a theme and speeding it up and helping get the stuff moving forward. So that's kind of what that is. Once we have a bunch of members on it for like on the creator side, then that's going to be towards funding promotions or giveaways and kind of cool stuff. So it's just going to be reinvested back into the forum. So we're trying to make it a very valuable, useful resource for YouTube creators. And for people that are not on YouTube, for people that want the information, it's also going to be a great place, almost like a video hive of all like like a catalog of all like the great videos on how-tos and DIYs, and you want to learn something, okay, here's 10 of us have made a video on it, and here's that archive of all the good stuff on it. So it's going to be video-centric form, not so much just text information. It'll have some of that, but it's going to be very video-centric since it's all centered around us YouTube creators. So that's kind of the gist of it all. That's my spiel.
And everybody that did donate, you're automatically, obviously, because you did, you really wanted it, regardless if you gave a little more or not, you're already covered. And as far as the startup, so
that's the Kickstarter kind of side of it. Anyone that's donated, you guys already have your premium membership coming once it's built. So.
Yes.
Yep. So I'm super excited for it. If anyone has suggestions of any features or anything cool or amazing, that would be great. Let me know. Otherwise, it's going to be fun.
ETA? They want to know what the ETA is on it, I
That's a
guess.
good question. The core is built. Next part's think of a template. Once we get that, then we'll start working on the sections and the layout and stuff. So basically, my evenings whenever I have free time, since I do most of the technical stuff. But yeah, hopefully
Right.
sooner than later. I mean, realistically, hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll have something that's starting to become usable, and then we'll just keep adding on, improving it over the next month or two. What are we talking about? We are talking about our. Oh, I just had a big spiel. You missed it all. I got to catch my breath again.
Yes, that's all you, Dev. I'm out. No.
Yeah. We are talking about
Sorry, JCS.
an amazing new website / video-centric forum that's going to be an amazing resource for reefers and an amazing tool for video creators. That is my elevator pitch. That is what we're building. So something that's going to be very useful for the community, for YouTubers, and also reefers. So that's kind of the gist of it. I'm going to make like a web page, a single page that explains it all, just so I can be like, check out this link. So that's kind of the gist of it. So this is good stuff. This is kind of what I feel is going to be a next step in helping to advance our online community. We've also were talking about other cool ideas like having like scheduling live streams to a sense, and then having a page on the sense for on the site for live streams, and who's ever scheduled for that slot, it will just show their live stream. So if you're just like, because I'm sure out of the 20, 30 of us people that do live streams, most of the time there's gonna be a live stream out of one of us. So if you just want to go on and chat and talk about reefing, you always have an easy way to find that place. You're cut off, JCS. So yeah, this is what's in the works right now. If any of you guys do want to donate to it and help it out, I mean, I think we're covered for the initial hit of stuff, but for the templates, some other stuff, I mean, if you do want to help out, let me know. Otherwise, good stuff will be coming. So lots of big stuff coming. I think it's going to be awesome for the reefing community. Have to go out, catch up so long. Sounds good. Talk to you later, Doctor.
Exclusive Reef said he talked to the ATI. That's about when Billy Pipes came on the live stream the other day.
Do tell.
That's out of my area because, like I said, I really don't know much when it comes to that. Or I do run ATI now. Like kit, so retro kit, but as far as how they operate and really, I have no idea. Clueless.
You and Rico make a video with the
I'll leave
sites
that
about.
for.
Yeah, we'll do something on that soon. Once I get a little more of the base stuff set up, I'll make a video, maybe explaining it, and it'd probably be good actually for all of us main ones involved in it and helping promote it. We'll make some kind of video and put it on our channels. It'll be a good way to spread the word for the initial stuff. But once we get a bit of the core stuff done first, I want to make sure it's something working and usable before we start putting it out into the world. All right, see you later, Doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. See Welsh.
Once up and running. No, we'll definitely still be on YouTube. This is more of a way of bringing us all the YouTubers together and organizing all our stuff. So it's going to have the aspects of a reef forum, but it's going to be very video centric. Sponsorship fee. Right. No idea. Don't actually have a sponsorship fee yet. We haven't really dug that far into it. Right now, it's just basically a kind of Kickstarter style. If someone wants to pitch in and help fund the initial creation of all this, then your Kickstarter benefit is you're always going to have like the premium membership to all like the creator back end.
All the cool stuff.
Yep, the fun stuff, the juice stuff that's going to be in the back end. Sorry.
You guys got to remember, this is like within the last couple days, it all took effect. So far sponsorship fees and all that, we haven't really sat down and talk about it and make sure it's feasible for everybody. It's not expensive. It's obviously we don't want to make anything expensive, but to have cool things, you got to give a little to get a little. How about that?
Yeah. So basically what we're thinking is probably, I don't know. I don't want to say anything yet, but we were throwing around the idea of like $20 a year or something. Enough where it's not expensive, but that little bit of a fee is going to keep out the people that are just going to join and spam. Plus, it will help cover the costs and that type of stuff. Now, the other kind of things are we're thinking, it will be good for helping YouTubers. If you're in the premium side, like, could be something for helping you get sponsors. It could help us get discounts so we can approach sites like, TubeBuddy and like Epidemic Sound and certain things that aim at tools for YouTube creators and say, hey, we got this community and work out discounts and stuff like that. So it's gonna be all different kinds of stuff once we have an organized community. We can approach some of these companies.
Well, can I get a discount from Rico with that starter pack he's sending me?
Oh.
I'm working on the thing. Yeah. I'm working on my own website. It's ricosreeftank.com. It's being created. It's actually, I think it might be up, but it's not 100% there yet. So, as far as corals, and it's gonna, when things get rolling and stuff, I'll be able to have coupon codes, discount codes, and same thing.
I get the first discount
it'll be available.
10%.
Yeah, Rico, are you gonna sponsor the membership discount?
There you go. Right?
Yeah, I'll figure out something.
Yeah, we'll definitely figure whatever, But you guys got to remember, it takes money to make money. So, like, I just put out, and I got to make money back. But we got a lot of things going on at one time. But I'm sure it's going to work. It's work out and be just fine and stuff like that. Maybe I'm already thinking of T-shirts and stuff like that. And some of the proceeds that for my end, my part. With Devin too, just for us to keep this thing really going. So, stuff like that. We still got a lot a lot of work to do, but I'm sure it's going to be great. Actually,
it will be. I think there's enough of us that are motivated to make it great that it will be, and we got lots of brilliant ideas. Yeah. So I'm excited for it. So it'll be fun.
And nobody's going to have to worry about any kind of riffraff. It'll be zero tolerant for riffraff, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
Any dissing or putting somebody down, I'm sorry.
Not allowed.
We won't have that because we wouldn't be any different than any other kind of reef form, I guess you want to put it, if that was allowed. So, so that's out.
Yep. So it'll be good.
So if you cannot contain yourself, just save your maybe $20, $25, just save it.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. If you guys do have any ideas, just shoot it over my way. Hey, Rico, nice new site. I like it. I like all the pictures.
Yeah, it's being worked on. Yeah, it's being worked on still, so it's not.
I'm gonna share
not
it.
done.
I'm gonna share it. So this is Rico's new site.
Yes.
See, I like it, Green Slimer. I like how you
make
hover
sure
over.
Make sure you let them know.
There you go.
Make sure you let them know it's still being worked on, but these are things to come.
Still in the works.
So
it looks good though. I like how it's very photocentric, and you can click on it for all the details. No riffraff.
Yeah, well, it's everything is kind of like a tip. No riffraff. It's right now. It's like everything's like 50. I mean, but it's really just it's just the template right now still. So it's still being worked on.
Exclusive Reefer. Rico's gonna be the first one to get banned for cursing someone out.
No, you can't ban one of the top dogs, but I wouldn't do that. You got to lead by example first off. Yes, we all get irritated, and but kind of got to pull it together. Yep.
No, honestly,
for the love of the hobby.
Yeah, the main purpose is we've been talking about the whole community thing for so long lately and building the community. This is kind of a way to create us a hub. Like, I know we have our streams, but there's also when the streams aren't running, and there's other times, right? So it's a way to build our kind of YouTube reefing community. Because yes, there's message board and other things, but this is a way to specifically aimed at the YouTube side of it. So that's kind of one of the main kind of drivers towards it. And then on top of that, it's just like, hey, how can we look what other people have and make it better? Look at their tools, let's step it up and make it better. So
like Devin said, it's solidifying the unity as a community and unity in community, taking all those YouTubers and putting us in one place at any given time. We're always there versus like he said, might not be a stream up, but whatever. We have that community right there as one. And by being and coming as one, when Dev was talking about getting sponsorship, well, we had a private talk and looking at subscribers as a whole, as a community, a million subscribers. So you got to look at it a standpoint of one of us reaching out, or if you other guys can reach out and know somebody, get a hold of Dev or me or whatever. Taking that number, they're going to look at a number like that versus looking at individual. What we can do as a whole, number wise, is going to be more powerful, stronger. So that's what, the whole community thing is, like you said, we've been talking about it. I don't know how long now, for a long time. So,
yeah. So if you guys do have any great ideas or stuff that you think would be awesome to add, or ideas how we can improve things, send me an email, Devin, DEVEN at reefdudes.com, and let me know. We'll just keep adding it to the list, because the goal is to basically make this like the most amazing reefing resource on the internet. So it's going to happen in time. There's enough of us that are been in this hobby, combined us together. We have so much experience, so many good ideas. Like it's going to be good stuff. And I mean, the whole point of this is for like my logo or kind of slogan, everything is making reefing easy. So it's a good way to help bridge new people into the hobby and different things. So I mean, I don't know. It's lots of good stuff coming. See you there, Doctor. Now,
tons of good stuff coming out of this.
So on the reefing side, does anyone else have any reefing related questions in the chat? I know we're getting really excited into our community thing, but is there any other reefing general hobby type questions? So I think out of this, I've actually learned that I'm gonna have to build a turf scrubber just for fun. But so I'm on the hunt for some good lighting now. So in the next few months, I'm probably gonna slowly stock up on parts, make something good.
Well, you gotta have to start feeding more.
Yeah, I already feed a lot though.
Whatever
You have no idea, I feed a lot.
there's always a reaction because. Think about it this way. Yeah, you build it, right? It's going to promote growth or whatever, right? Well, the nutrients are really going to get sucked up. So could be a problem.
Okay.
So the nutrients that is likes, now you're going to have to feed more. So are you willing to feed more?
I got 4 or 5 packs of my in the freezer. I'm set for a while.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, I just threw that out there just so people know, though, because he wants to do that. He's changing the dynamic of what his tank. Yeah, there you go. It's always good to have great export. Well, great could be bad in the same breath. Like I always say, it could be true and false. But
so the whole point of exporting nutrients for most people is to get rid of nitrates and phosphates. But zero is also bad. You still need some. Corals need some phosphate, need some nitrate. You never want zero. You want them low. You don't want them high, because high can promote algae. You want them low, but never zero. So just remember that.
Yeah. It's funny that y'all say that the core talk to you and everything earlier. I know it's kind of off topic, but my my posting zines, I'm doing some cleaning to my return pump, and those group of posting zines right there just closed up immediately when I stopped the flow and everything, the return, and that's just a sign, that it is true. Like some core do talk to you if you pay attention enough to your tank. It does talk to you. I've been in the game for what, maybe at the most 6 months, and I learned that was like one of the first things I learned, that if you pay attention to your tank, it's gonna tell you something's not right. And that's to me, that's relevant proof that hey, something's not right. Check your system. And apparently I don't have a return going. So, I mean, that may not result from it, but it's a clue to say, hey, pay attention, take a look at it and stuff like that.
No, that's very true.
Because
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sometimes corals will close up just to close up. So you have to you don't jump the gun, like the corals will close up sometimes just to close up. They feel like closing up, whatever. If they're staying closed up for a couple days, that's when you want to start being a little aware. Well, start looking at other corals. Start seeing if
Yeah.
other corals are showing different signs too. Are their polyps not out? If you do have like millies and some of these other coral acros that like to shoot out long polyps, well, they'll do it if your parameters are good. But if they're not showing those signs anymore, you might want to find out. Like I have one coral right now is real fluffy. Used to be real fluffy. In the last couple days or a week, I noticed it hasn't had any of its polyps out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip it out the system, which I keep a lot of stuff on their own rocks. So take the rock out and give it a look over and see if there's any signs of something, maybe red bugs or something, just to make sure, because that's the only one that's doing it. Or is it just ticked off, for whatever reason? And give it a little iodine bath, give it a little revive dip just to make sure, and put them back in the system and see what happens. But that's only one coral. All my other corals are fine and everything else. But it's been a week.
Yeah.
So I don't see any signs of bite marks or anything like that visually looking at it. So I'm going to really get in there and look at it, bust out a magnifying glass, give it a good once over. And if everything's fine, I'm still going to dip it. I'll dip it revived, and I'll hit it with some iodine, any kind of infection or something might be going on. Who knows? It's not showing any signs of recession. Yeah, it's not showing any signs of, burnt tips, recession, STNN, RTNN, none of that. It could just be it's ticked off for whatever reason.
Yep.
So,
but that goes to show, Rico, that that statement is true, that you can't just, some things you just can't set and forget. Like as far as when it comes to your reef, it comes to your tank, you have to pay attention to it. You have to, it's not like some dog that you just feed and then throw out in the backyard and say, okay, now go do your thing.
Yeah, sure. Right. Okay, Reef Dude, I'm gonna serenade you. No.
So sweet of you. That's good.
Man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So Exclusive Reef was asking, how many of you guys make your own food? I haven't. I've been thinking about it. Rico, do you make your own food? Do you make your corals
I make
dinner?
mine. I got probably. Yeah, I know. What I spend is a little over $100. $100 will get you a good year supply. Let's just say, if you go to the the sushi market and whatnot, and I make a lot, and vacuum seal it. If you vacuum seal it, you're good for a long time. So, but yeah, I make my own. For $100. What it would cost me per pack of whatever, and you're still not getting everything that they would potentially get, just by any of these, prepackaged stuff. You're not getting everything that they would be able to have access to in the wild. So, I just get that variety at the sushi market and prepare, but it's
go buy a bunch of fresh raw seafood, throw it in the blender, and pack it
yeah,
up.
it's cheaper. For what you're gonna get and be able to make, it's so much cheaper. It's like one of those initial upfront costs, like radions, let's say. No, but
it's true. You
but
buy
in the
it
long
once
run,
and you keep it.
Yeah, it's like you get so much, you don't have to worry about spending all this other money. Like I still buy like P Mysis. I still buy Spirulina stuff. I do buy a lot of the packaged stuff even for that, but I take all that out the package. I'll go to the store, buy it all, take even all that out of the package and mix it in the food that I prepare. It's a big glass cake mixing bowl full of just meat.
How does Jamie like that? She's like, what are you doing with her kitchen supplies?
Oh, she doesn't. No, yeah, she does. My wife is the coolest wife you'll ever want to have.
Man,
she is.
Mine doesn't let anything from fish stuff touch the kitchen supplies, or it's all over.
Oh, see, no, everybody
Yeah.
says something bad about what they're significant. Mine do not say nothing. Cool. She is
I had
cool.
to
She'll
buy like my
actually
own
help.
cutting
It's not a big problem.
boards, my own little scooper things for measuring cups. I seriously have to go to the dollar store and buy everything that we have anyways. I have to go buy my own for the fish version.
But
Yeah.
it's crazy because I mean it's stuff that you will eat. So why can't it touch your? I mean it's sushi.
Right? Exactly.
I mean, come on, calamari. I mean, I eat calamari. I mean, I don't
I
know anybody else. I mean,
if it was
you
straight
know,
from
stuff
the
like that.
if I bought it straight from the seafood market, fresh, I could probably get away with it. But
Yeah.
if I had a PC mysis, nope, not allowed.
It's still
That's too far.
okay.
I know. I understand it too, but one of those things.
Yeah.
We don't
What do
have a
you do?
Mrs. Rico, okay?
Yeah, I see.
I know.
I
Rico
see.
won't share.
I learned that a long time ago.
Yeah, that's how you know she's a
Yeah.
keeper,
Mine's
eh?
get mad.
Huh?
Mine's get mad. I
Oh.
come in the morning and cause I don't have my lights on the timer yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still
Uh,
developing my own time, developing my timer for it, with my microcontroller. And so when I come in like at 6, anywhere between 6, 7 o'clock, 6 and 8 in the morning, the first thing I do is I cut on my light. I cut on the blues,
Mm-hmm.
and I leave them on at 10%. And she looks over at me. I go try to get a kiss. She's like, no, mm-mm. The first thing you did was you tended to them fish, and I'm like, come on, man, it's just, it's just like, I'm like, come on, don't,
You look at the fish and not me, honey.
you know, go talk to your fish. And I'm like, oh,
Be like,
God.
fine, I will. What's going on, fishies?
Yeah.
My coral, you're looking
Yeah,
mighty
you know
fine under
what?
those blue lights.
I personally love hearing when you guys are like when we're talking about this and I hear all your guys' story. It's like, yes, I got a winner. Yes. You guys just
Yep.
make me never want to leave. I'm never leaving you, honey.
Jamie, if you're listening right now, Rico's probably getting some brownie points. You're like, honey, you're extra good.
Yeah, she's probably in the background,
Yeah.
like laughing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's at her friend's house getting her friend and her having nail dates, so they're doing their nails.
Oh, that's fair.
So, but yeah.
I thought I started at the beginning of the stream, so just checking. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, she might have been.
Yeah.
She might have been. Yep.
No.
She probably was trying to see if I was coming in or not because I've been messed up all day for real.
Yeah. How you feeling now? Is the headache any better?
My headache actually went away. Yeah. She gets on me because she's like, "You didn't take nothing," and I'm like, "No." Because I really do refuse to put stuff in my body. I don't care if it's prescribed or not. I just don't want my body to rely on that.
Yeah.
Or get to a point where it's not going to work because you've been taking it for so long. It's not going to work. So for me, it's pretty much hospital bound IV. I love IVs. I ain't even gonna lie. Once they give you that good IV bag, man, 2 IV bags, I feel like new money all the time.
Yeah.
So that might be kind of crazy.
Drink water for like 3 days.
Yeah. I barely take a vitamin, so I understand. I don't like taking anything. I'm like,
yeah. I just think, I think if you allow your body to work naturally, like for me, I don't get sick. I don't get common colds. I don't get none of that. I never have.
Mm-hmm.
I still have all my teeth, no cavities.
All those pearly whites.
I mean, a lot of this stuff that I just don't get. And it's like, maybe because when we were younger, we played with mud cakes and ate mud cakes and, putting all this foreign matter and stuff that just build a good immune system. Like,
yeah,
I try to do with these fish. What I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
the same as cave. Perfect analogy for fish tanks. People that run like bare
there you
bottom,
go.
super sterile tanks. You have no buffer. The moment something happens, it's going to explode because you don't have any buffer of bacteria, other things to deal with it. So it hits your system hard. Like, it's good to have that. You don't want your tank too pristine or it's trouble. Same thing. Like, if you're a bubble child and you never play in the dirt, you're going to get colds all the time because your body has no immune system.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
I don't let my kids get their ammonia shots and putting all that. I know more people get sick behind getting their
You're like, kids, go play in the dirt and
ammonia
lick your
shot,
hands.
pneumonia. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, uh, it's crazy. It's like, why are you giving somebody something? And it's like, oh, well, it doesn't really make it. It's a dead virus. You're still putting a foreign matter in the body,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't belong there. And if it does, yeah, you're making your immune system fight this foreign matter to just enter your body.
Mm-hmm.
But if it naturally comes there and you don't even know it, and your body did its job, guess what? You already built up in immunity. You're not feeling the effects of what somebody else might, with a
Mm-hmm.
low immunity system. So, well, a low immune system, should I say? Immunity,
Yep.
like I'm talking court. Immune system.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true though. Like, honestly, like, I agree with that for people and for tanks. Like, I don't know.
And
Nature has
the whole bare bottom
survived.
thing. That's another thing. I like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. I don't know. Personally, some people love their bare bottoms. I know it's for flow SPS, but I personally prefer sand and the more natural look. But I mean, that's
I
personal
have
preference.
full SPS, and I still have sand in it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a nice buffer. I like sand for the buffering, but you know what I mean. It's
And it looks good.
the bacteria grows on the surface of things, and it looks natural.
Mm-hmm.
And I want what I want to see in the ocean in this box, so I want to make it look as natural as possible.
Exactly. Hey, our
Yeah.
tanks are a little cube of ocean, so
Yep.
that's
And
what
to
it's
me,
all
that kind
about.
of takes away from the whole hobby, like the whole fish keeping. For LFSs, it's fine because they're in it for mass production and they're in for they want you to just look at the fish. But when it comes to your display at the house, I mean, come on, that
Yeah.
nothing against them. It just I prefer not to. Even when I was in freshwater with my Oscars and my Pacus and my Jack Dempseys and stuff like that, I mean, I wanted gravel and and dirt. So I would get like the fine black sand and gravel and mix it.
Yep.
Laughing at the chat there, Chris.
Huh?
If you hear me laughing, it's like I'm listening to you, but I'm just laughing at the chat.
Mm-hmm.
That's
No, I'm pretty
all.
sure because I can't see the chat. So
Yeah, no, I
Yep.
got my phone. I'm on with my phone
Mm-hmm.
and on with my computer, so I can see the chat. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and I got it right in the middle of my screen to start the chat the whole time, just in case. So I was laughing. She just texted me, but earlier, who is it? Someone was asking about making a JCS was asking about making a video about the corals and all the names of them because a lot of people show up but they don't actually say the name. So that's actually on my to-do list. I want to do a video with the one of just all the corals, which, to be honest, I only probably know about the names of 80% of them. I forget half of them. And then another one about all the fish, but I'm gonna get the fiance in that one because she named half of them. So I figure I'm gonna get her to be in the video and do it. So it'll be good. Oh,
there you
yes.
go.
Yep. Future videos on the to-do list one of these days.
Yeah, I'm still. Oh, that's another thing too. I haven't said nothing to the wife, but the whole female section for that page,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh
it's
yeah,
not a dating website, guys.
but
Just
we
so
were,
you know,
yeah,
we're not.
but
Go ahead.
that's true. Sorry, yeah, we were talking about making like a lady reefer section for because I mean, if I look at my YouTube stats, it's like 95% male or more. There isn't a lot of females that have their own reef tanks, so we're thinking of their own little kind of showcase section on the site.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
There's a lot of kids that's
Let's see.
getting into it too. A lot of these kids
Mm-hmm.
are heavily into it.
There's Yeah, there's actually a lot of younger people that are getting into it, which is awesome to see. I think it's great too, and I think it's a great thing to help grow the hobby is having a lot of the younger guys jumping in on it.
A bunch of baby Ricos,
Yeah, I have
25 years in the game.
Yep, you have to get all your kids to the tank, Rico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Hey.
6.3% are females on me, for me,
Okay, I have to look now.
on my YouTube. Yeah, I have gender 6.3% and 94% males.
All right, analytics. Which one is it under? It's under demographics, I
Just
think.
analytics straight down, pull it down. You can go under
Your
gender,
gender.
playback. Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of that, how can you tell who's subscribing to your channel?
If they share it publicly, it shows under your analytics. If they don't,
Hmm.
you don't always
Yeah.
get it, but you can see. It depends if they said share my channel or not. So I have 96% male, 3.9% female. 3.9? Who's the 0.1% then? Unknown?
I have geographics. Let's see. United States 81%, United Kingdom 9.2%, Canada 3.6%, Israel 3.1%, Australia 0.7%.
Hmm.
And that's probably from Reef Dudes and Dudes Reef, or not, I mean, Dudes Reef and Rookie Reefer.
We're your international-ish audience?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Can't name. Yeah, that might be true.
So,
No, we'll figure out
what's that?
Krieger's Reef can't name women's page or anything with tubers would be offensive. We'll figure out something. But yeah.
Yeah, we can, um, Lady Reefers.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah, I know we'll figure out something. But I mean, like, there's Reef
I mean,
Girl and Haley.
yeah.
Like, there's a handful, but there isn't a ton, which is kind of a shame. Like, I know they're more so in the freshwater, but not as much in the saltwater. But I don't know. I think half of this, the drive of
Yeah.
this too, is going to help promote new people to get into the hobby. And hopefully get rid of that stigma that saltwater is tricky or hard or, some other thing.
That's the problem. And that's why, exactly. And that's kind
Mhm.
of what, when I came out and to do the YouTube, and it was just mainly hearing, because I would sit back and listen and just watch whatever. But, and just locally and, meeting people at the reef stores, and then they find out who I am outside of YouTube, and then was like, oh, yeah. And then I run into them again. Oh, man, it's just too hard. This happened, that happened, because they had no help.
Mhm.
They had no guidance. Yeah, they get on reef forums or stuff, and a lot of times I'd hear them say, man, forget that. Trash talk, or it made me feel stupid, or you know, I asked a question, I never get a response back, blah blah blah. So
Mhm.
it's, I'm glad we're doing it. So,
Mhm.
and that's the whole thing with the YouTube and building a community and trying to help
Mhm.
people along. I mean, I get tons of emails to say how much they're, thankful that this has happened and they learned so much. And I'm sure you do too, Devin.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
mean,
No,
just,
definitely. I
probably
mean,
people saying stuff,
mhm. No, and it's nice, and like having those comments are one of the things that inspires me to make more videos and do things. So it's always good.
Yeah.
Nato in the chat actually had a really interesting comment. He says, "Question: Why separate male
Okay.
and female reasers? Honestly, I don't care. I'm checking out the tank, not the person." That's true. It's not
It's
so
not
much separating;
separating them.
it's more featuring them to an
Yeah.
extent, as
Go
a way
ahead.
to hopefully inspire more females to get into the hobby. Just because it's
Women.
primarily male in the hobby for whatever reason. So maybe
Right.
we're saying it the wrong way, but I was thinking more of a way to hopefully help inspire more to get more diversity into the hobby.
Here's the thing too,
Mm-hmm.
and this is not to be fun. It's not we're segregating them
Mm-hmm.
from that. They have all the access to, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
that anybody else. It's just them having a page or a section for themselves, because women like talking to other women, and you never know too that it does. Okay, let me just think. Whatever, crazy here for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Think about some guys are not, they're jealous. Let's just say, I don't know, maybe if it's just a female part, and you know, and that's a place for them to go and learn and talk to other women. Who knows? I don't know. Think about it that way. But we're not segregating them at all. It's
No.
just.
I mean, maybe this is a terrible idea.
Just,
who knows? It was something that was thrown out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I know there's like sadly Miss Saltwater tanks on the hobby, but like she was one who had like, you know, she had her own channel, tons of good stuff. But I don't know. This may be an absolutely pointless thing, and we may be 100%
what happened
wrong.
With that?
But it's just
right.
something someone.
And what happened with that is a jealous boyfriend deleted her page,
which is very sad.
So very sad. So, you know, whatever. Maybe we can have a women poll and let them decide. So
yeah, I'll ask Jamie and Paige and all the other ones. Haley, yeah. Do you want your own section?
Yeah, there you go.
That's
exactly.
a good way. Let's talk to the ones who are already in it. I don't remember who suggested that, but it's something that came up.
I probably did. Just to get more women in, you know.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I probably the one that said it, but I thought it was a good idea, but we'll find out. We'll just let the women speak and us not speak for the women. How about that?
That's fair. That's probably the best thing that any of us can do.
Right?
The smartest move. Yeah.
You don't know me. You don't know what I'm thinking.
Right. I'm waiting for Deathmage because she's in here. I want to hear her thoughts because she said, "Oh Lord."
Exactly. We're in trouble now. But no, like.
What she said? People turn into leg humpers.
Oh Lord.
Maybe they need to grow up. Just saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, the side goal of this too is to get more people into the hobby. It doesn't matter who it is, young, old.
Yeah, it doesn't matter gender,
sexes,
whatever. Yeah.
It's a great hobby. And there's a stigma that it's complicated or hard or whatever, and it's about finding ways to break that barrier and introduce more people in the hobby to enjoy it, you know, and experience it and grow, and more people to trade coral with, and more people to, you know, share a community with. So I think at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, because when I'm at work, and you know, a lot of when I'm working the station and stuff, and they're like, you know, Bear, what you doing? And I'm like, I'm looking at fish videos and stuff, and it was like, oh no, that's hard. I can't do that. That's too hard. I'm like, it's really not that hard, you know. And well, maybe one day I'll try it. So, you know, it's like I was telling Rico, you know, when I was inquiring about his coral, that his SPS, that I got a lot of, you know, coworkers that want to get into it, but they're kind of, you know, skeptical about it. But I told them I'll spread the word, you know. Because when I posted a picture on Facebook of my tank, a lot of my coworkers did comment on it, you know, that they liked it and whatnot. So
on that note, Exclusive Reefer was just commenting on it. The Xenia behind me, so that's your tank actually. I just have it on the background. It says looking awesome. There's tons of movement in it.
Yeah. I got everything shut down now because I'm fooling with this protein skimmer. Since Mr. Rico told me I gotta move it up 7 inches into the water. So.
Yeah. Nice. What was? I actually did have a really good point, but I completely lost it.
What was it? I missed it.
I missed it too. I lost it. I was reading something and got distracted.
Oh, that's another thing too. What I'd like to do is like, when we do these, like these streams here, you know, obviously we said you're keeping them more, you know, professional, but having like these streams, we're going to leave these up, like put these on that page. So people at work, I know, driving and stuff, they might just want to hear what was the topic and talk and all this, and they can, you know, whatever. And that's another good thing, you know, because we do get in very great conversations about lighting, protein skim, all the stuff. So that's another thing.
Yeah, well, even all the talk earlier today on Miracle Mud, I mean, I've never used it personally. I've been kind of interested in it after hearing bits about it here and there. And it's tons of good information that, you know, I didn't previously know about. I was talking to a guy earlier today about who builds turf scrubbers, so I was trying to see if I can get him on a future stream just to talk about it. Like, he was telling me tons of stuff that I'd even never considered, like how it pulls certain metals out of the, like, copper out of the water and all these other things that I didn't even really consider. So there's tons of great information out there that's not really well known. So
Right.
Definitely a lot of
Now
good.
that's a good to me. That's a question. Now is copper
Hmm.
is copper reef-safe or not reef-safe?
Not resafes.
It's not
Well,
reef safe, but there are traces of
yes.
copper in.
There's a very small,
Uh,
minute amount that is beneficial in your tank. Too much of
Mm-hmm.
it can be
yeah.
harmful to your shrimp and invertebrates.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a very small trace
Yeah.
amounts, there's benefits, there's no big deal. But too much copper can kill your shrimp, your snails, that type of stuff. So, like generally, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
medications will have copper, and that's why they always say don't treat your tank, take everything out, then do it.
Yeah,
Because you don't want to dose
because
copper, then every shrimp or snail that ever enters your tank will bite the dust. So, I mean,
yeah, and it was, but the person that told me that it wasn't, because when I was talking about the ick issue a couple weeks back, I can't remember who it was, but they said copper, uh, dose copper, and
mm-hmm,
that'll get rid of it because it is not able to live in copper or copper water or something like that.
mm-hmm.
But that's what I was had a question on was copper bad for your reef? I know it's not bad for your fish, as far as dosing and treating them, but
Mm-hmm.
your coral.
Yep. Mm-hmm. No, it's true. I don't honestly know how it affects curl too much. I've never dug into that. Kreger's Reef is saying science-based advice would be nice to have on the site. Also, not sure if it can be controlled, filtered, but forums are breeding grounds for people sharing poor information. This is very true. We'll probably try and find a
Oh
way to,
yeah.
moderate to an extent and
The-
keep just like the good stuff on there. I don't quite 100% know how yet,
yeah, we'll
but
have to.
we got to work all that
Yeah,
out
we'll
still.
have to go through that because a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. I think one of the things that's going to be useful for when we build kind of like the coral database and the fish database side of it, which I think is going to be awesome, by the way, is not just say, okay, moderate high flow and that's it, but have it so experienced reefers can submit what is working in their system. So maybe you're not just seeing this, and this. You can be like, okay, 75% of people were in this range and it's working and thriving in their system. So it's more of a scientific, educated way to get those stats.
I think it will help. Yeah. Well, it's something to that I was liking, but posting water
Mm-hmm.
volume, maybe the rock volume, sand volume,
Mm-hmm.
the lights that they're using. Like you really have to really put all that in, and you know, in a way. So I don't know. That's gonna be. I don't know. That might be a little tricky. But I mean, I guess you could have somebody put in that's given a that's saying
Mm-hmm.
something or what. But this is what I have. This is what I'm working with. This is the protein skimmer. This is where I keep all my levels. This is my
Mm-hmm.
lighting schedule, so forth. I mean, you really have to document like all that, and put all that in.
Well,
So
I think what we
because
could
obviously, well,
Yeah, I think what we
go
could
ahead.
do is not necessarily make them required, but have all the options for those fields. And you could use stats based off the commonalities. So you could say, 50%
Okay.
of people are
Yeah.
within this range of, say, 50 or 100 par or whatever. Like, we could define what
Well,
that is and then do stats based on, like categories or let people filter and kind of get their own
yeah.
information to an extent
Well,
based
wait.
on that.
Yeah.
Hmm. I think that could be
Yeah.
a good way of doing it. That way
Yeah.
it's
I
kind
think
of
that worked because.
because, but then you also get the
Go ahead.
spread, right? You're like, okay, so people with nano tanks are doing this is working well. People with large tanks are doing this is working well. So to an extent, people draw their own conclusions, but they're getting data of what's worked for other people. And I think that's a lot more useful than just saying, okay, high flow, highlight. But what does that mean, right? How
Yeah,
much flow is
that's
high flow? How
yeah.
much light is highlight? Is that 300 par? Is that 600 par, right? Like it's so much, it's very open ended, where this way it would give quantifiable data for people to make their own decisions off of it. So I think that's part of where
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like Cruz just said, we need standards. So we'll have to,
Yeah. Yeah.
have a chat about it and decide in the group what do we think should be the ranges to kind of consider stuff, or maybe it's just a drop down people and pick their own ranges and see. But I think that's going to be a good chunk,
Hmm.
which is going to make this tool, like a step above the rest and actually make it more useful to give people that extra ability to make their own decisions, their own data.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, we'll have to. Yeah, I mean, it sounds good. I mean, obviously, there's going to be, we'll come up with something. I'm sure there's going to be some changes to it and how things are laid out or whatever. Because, once again, this is all new territory, but we'll figure out something for sure.
No, exactly. So lots of good things will come. Like I was saying earlier, if
And
anyone
we,
does have any great ideas, shoot me an email, deven@reefdudes.com. So Devin at ReefDudes. And I'll definitely add it to the list. I got a big notepad and Excel file of all kinds of stuff that people have thrown out for great ideas. So need to break newcomers from trying to completely mimic a specific person or tank. Also, a
yeah,
very good point. Every tank is
yes.
different. So, I mean, what works for me may not work for Rico, right? That's why one of the great things about these streams and these things is you're getting different perspectives on the similar idea or concept.
Come on, Dev. You're doing it the same way I'm doing it.
Maybe, maybe not.
I'm sitting up here trying to do something and I couldn't laugh.
That's the thing is, we got to really, and it's we really have to work on making sure it's actual more to the actual facts than somebody's sister's brother's cousin, and just the chain event of I repeat and not really know because they never even like stop the talking of things that somebody didn't actually do in their system. They're just hearing what somebody else did, so they really don't know if it's a true statement or holds any kind of truth or false, or you know what I mean. So it's working through things like that because I mean we really have to work together as a whole. And like I said, you're going to talk about. I mean, we're going to be looking at hundreds of or thousands of different personalities, but we as a community we have to remember to put our pride and stuff to the side. And it's about reefing. It's about helping everybody keep successful reef tanks, and just try to really keep an open mind and not really fight on things so much. Because I mean, like me, there's a lot of things that I honestly, and Devin, I don't care. I mean, if you want to agree or chime in, but you never really heard me say like put anybody down from something the way they're doing. Even if I didn't agree, like I stay my point. I say whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, my system's going to speak for itself. Obviously, I know something, right? Let's just say, obviously, I know something. But not putting anybody down or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of things that I could have said, but that would be defeating the purpose of building the community and or belittling somebody for what. I was in that same person, whoever it was, it is in the chat or when we're doing live stream, I was there. So I got to remember that, and that's the key, is remembering where, regardless of where you at now in the hobby, is always remembering where you started from.
Everything where you came from.
Yeah, it's like you came out your mom's womb. You didn't start playing football as soon as you came out, right? You had to learn to roll from your back to your tummy, and then from that to crawling, and that to walking, and that to running, and so forth and so forth. But I think a lot of times, a lot of the bigger people that's been in the hobby a long time, it may be just because they're tired of hearing the same things over and over and over, or whatever. But you know, just don't play nice, and I'm trying to break that. Like, I think they should share that knowledge and their experience. I know they paid their dues and forked out a lot of money to get to where they are. I know, I was there. I did it. All the same mistakes that I've heard made.
Yeah.
Go
one
ahead.
of the biggest mistakes I made was same thing. Like, I first started my tank, I used tons of GFO because I'd never wanted algae. I've never had algae, but I've also at one point killed a bunch of corals from sucking out too much out of the water, right? So I mean, there's a huge mistake I've made before I knew better. So there's lots of things like that that are you don't really know until you try, or these warnings, all these little types of bits. So I mean, it's pretty much everything that we talk about is mainly stuff that we've done, made mistakes, learned, and that's how we've gained our experience on it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, so 518's comment. Have had people try and copy my tank and then blame me if their tank failed. I mean, same thing. Like everybody's tank is different. If it works for me, it might
I'm
not
waiting
work
for
for
that to happen.
you. But that's why, yeah, that's why I think that's what I love with the live streams is you're hearing 5 different perspectives on what they do and what works for
Yeah.
them. So it's not just one. It's like here's this, this, and this. Because there's
I do think there's an actual just a standard though when I think that setting up a standard of reefing for beginners I think is to me I think that's going to be easy, and I think it
mm-hmm.
will if we work together and put something like that together
Yep.
for beginners, like a beginner page.
Mm-hmm.
Something I really, really want to do, because I feel like there is a standard. And if they go there and not just run out the door, or they seen their buddy's tank, so they run out the door and buy all this other stuff that their buddy's using necessarily, all these fancy reactors and this, and that, and mess around, crash their system. Um, I think we should be. I think we should put together something. Um, uh,
Mm-hmm.
for
Yeah,
for beginners
we
to
will.
keep them in the hobby and not have, you might have it will come down to tank size too, and stuff like that, but
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll have they'll love it. I think it'll be a
Mm-hmm.
better experience for new people coming in
Mm-hmm.
to be able to use that as a reference guide
No,
to
definitely.
start in a tank.
No, we'll we'll
Yeah,
we'll definitely put in a lot of thought from. We'll get a group of us and say make like a really good beginners intro section, and but really just the basics, right? Like it's all the
the
advanced stuff
basics.
where there's lots, but the core
Yes,
basic stuff
When
is fairly standard for a successful kind of
yes.
recipe, which we'll definitely
I
have to
Hmm.
do
finna
that.
say, because but most of the time when you get people that want to get in the hobby, but then get discouraged, not only just because of the maintenance and the care level that's needed for it, but the tank size.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing you go off into, you hear, from an LSF or from an LFS, worker, or somebody talking about a certain fish, or you look on a forum, or you look up a fish, the minimum tank size 90 gallons,
Mm-hmm.
minimum tank size 120 gallons, and some people live in apartments, some people live in trailers, and they just don't have that room for it,
Mm-hmm. Well,
you
okay,
know.
that's
Yeah.
a great point. I think we need 2 sections. One school of
Yep.
thought is biggest tank is possible, but on the same side, I mean, I started with a 12-gallon tank. So I understand like big tank means more water stability and less stuff can
And
happen
more
bad.
room.
But on the flip
It's just
side,
more room for
hmm
error.
but on the flip side,
But
a little tank, all you need is 1 bucket water change and your tank's reset to an extent, right? So I mean, there's sides to both, and I think we should really address both of it. So maybe there's 2 different
Well,
guides
I
for a
think on
small or a
a
big
12
tank.
gallon, and it also depends on, and we'll have to make sure, and it really comes down to depend on what you want, Are
Mm-hmm.
you running an all softy tank? Oh, well, have a 12-gallon tank, as far as I'm concerned. They like dirtier water. It ain't
Mm-hmm.
gonna really do too much damage. Might have a big hair algae outbreak or something, but you're not really gonna do too much to those corals. You
Mm-hmm.
start getting into
mhm,
LPS and stuff like that, then you're gonna start finding a little trickier things, and you're gonna have to really step up your, keeping that little 12-gallon stable. But
mhm.
yeah, I think you're onto something right there. Well, maybe 2 pages, and
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna be a lot. We gonna have to sit down and put a lot into
That's
those
okay.
pages.
But honestly, though, if you think about it, the biggest hurdle. I mean, I think it's useful and it's going to be a great way to bridge new people into the hobby and help it make it easier for them. That's going to be one way to grow our community.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you right now, when I told them I want to start a nano tank, they was like a who, a what? And I'm like, it's like a 10 gallon, 15, 10 gallon, 20 gallon tank, reef tank and whatnot.
Hmm.
Oh, well, I don't recommend that. That's, you at least need a 55, you know.
See, the funny
So
things, I know like Rico and I disagree on this a bit, but I love nano tanks, like, but for me, I also love coral, and I run out of space very quickly. Then I want a bigger tank. Then I want
yeah,
another bigger tank. So that's been my biggest driver to upgrade is because I want more coral, and I don't have space for it.
yeah,
But
Well, I don't know
yeah.
if it's a big disagreement. I think it comes from that part. I think comes from experience and knowing better.
Hmm.
It's how do you tell somebody that's not right, that doesn't really know any better, that maybe started off in a hobby that way and was lucky.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Also, you got to take your personality too into
Hmm.
play in that, Dev. You're a very intelligent person and like, tinkering and stuff like that.
Hmm.
That next person, the majority of people ain't might not be that way. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it's not I disagree so much. It's just I know better when it comes to that. I've got the years to see and experience and see what has, transpired behind running smaller system.
Hmm.
Now, I mean, before I don't even remember Pico, Nano, all this stuff is like kind of new. I mean, for real. I mean, besides Jelly Bowl, or I mean, not Jelly, the little fish bowl tanks, but that was freshwater. But
Hmm.
you know, I think it just coming. I think you would change your mind, in more years to come. Or maybe not
Hmm.
because technology is different now,
Hmm.
and stuff like that. I mean, there's so much that plays a big part. But far as experience wise,
Hmm.
I'm saying things far as experience wise and
Hmm.
just knowing better that water chemistry and stability is very crucial. And when you're running a smaller system, no matter what, I mean, realistically, no matter what anybody said, it doesn't take much but a sneeze to disrupt that little thing of water
Yeah.
that
yeah,
and cause problems. I mean, if you sneeze in a large system, it's nothing. It's like you just felt some wind blow by you or something. It's
Hmm.
nothing. It's not going to do nothing. But a drop of anything or contaminants
Yeah.
on your hand, and it's done. It's done.
For
You know.
for
Go
my
ahead.
starter nano tanks, I guess my in a very marine 30 gallon, it was a bit trickier to escape because it was more skinny and long. But that tank,
Yeah.
I did dose it, but I literally did a 5 gallon water change a week. That was it, and the tank just flourished. Like that was super easy to maintain, like with a doser, obviously, just because I had a lot of coral in it. But that tank was packed and just flourished. So I mean, to me, that was super easy to
Yeah.
maintain. I had a $100 Jabo doser and did 5 gallon week water change. All I did the tank, and it grew like crazy. So I mean, you can have small tanks be
But
very successful, as long as you're consistent with your little water
it goes
changes and
back to
stuff.
your
But
person that statement goes back to your personality. I just know how I
yeah,
your videos and stuff like that. I just know how you are.
mm,
So for you, I would never think it would have ever been a problem. If you told me you had a problem, I would almost want to say you're lying because just the way you
yeah,
carry yourself, well, you know what I mean? And I know how you keep things organized and you like perfection to a point. I see it,
mm,
I mean, the way you carry yourself and the way what you see, once again, it goes back you showing us these videos says a lot. You don't even have to open your mouth and people can tell what type of person that they're dealing with.
mm,
yeah.
It's, it's one of those situations.
yeah, fair.
I get what Rico is saying because it takes when you wanna when you for like for me, you know, for somebody that has a passion for it, that's getting back into having a passion for it, that has now the funds to do it,
Hmm.
you know, and actually pay attention and know that it requires attention to detail. Some people that just want to have it just to have it,
Hmm.
then yeah, you need to start with a bigger system because if you're just having it just for the looks and you're not in it for the hobby, because to me it's a big difference.
Hmm.
You know, you can tell when someone's just showing their tank and just have a tank, or aquarium, for just the looks. Or aquarium look good in this corner of my living room, or it look good, you know, somewhere around my house, versus someone that's actually in the hobby. Somebody's actually, want to get into it and want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I
No,
think
that's
that separates the two.
yeah, I think that's a huge
For
point
me,
too. Very, very good point.
yeah, for me, for me, I'm a hobbyist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I flip this camera around and you see all the equipment, I go into my garage and you see all these tubes and from the months of watching Joey's videos and looking at Rico's videos and CJ's videos and I'm just like, man, I can start a garage sale with just the stuff I bought. But
Mm-hmm.
that shows that this guy's serious about it. Because every other week I'm in the LFS.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just and now I'm kind of getting to a point to where I have disciplined myself to where when I go in, you can't just sell me anything, because I only come in for one purpose because I don't have an RODI unit yet. I'm not buying one until my house is finished renovating. You know, I only go in for RO water and for my salt water. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now, I'm looking at buying my coral online, you know, and if it's a certain fish that I see, I may spot when I'm in there. I may look at it,
Mm-hmm.
I may look at it for a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, okay, they got, so that type of stuff. And it's
Mm-hmm.
it's a big difference, between a hobbyist and somebody that's just like just having a tank for the looks.
Mm-hmm.
I think most of the people that's in these in the chats and that subscribe to y'all channel and everything, those are upcoming hobbyists. Those are, you know,
Mm-hmm.
we are upcoming hobbyists that are learning about the hobby.
Yeah.
Versus someone that's looking at, oh, I got ick in my tank or I have an algae problem. That's just looking for, you know, questions to be answered.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true.
So
On the whole like intimidating newcomer thing, one thing that looking back kind of makes me laugh at, like the chiropractor at the time, a girl worked there, she's like, oh, I had a saltwater tank, they're like, it's so unstable though, like one dog hair falls in it, your tank can crash. And now I look at my tanks, there's like dog hair in it all the time, like my dog sheds a lot, so I'm like, yeah, it's fine. See, air's floating around in there, it's like, it's no big deal. I mean, same thing, maybe she had a tiny tank, big tank, I don't know, but just funny the stigma that I find that a lot of us are trying to get people past.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dave, get a RDI. Those trips for water get you to spend too much time at the candy store. That's probably a very good point.
Yeah.
I used to haul the buckets of water all the time, and spending that bit of money on buying one is definitely nice. No more trips out. No more hauling buckets. I bought a 50-foot of RO line, and I don't even have to carry a bucket. I just walk it over to my reservoir and open the valve.
Yeah.
So that part's definitely a nice way to do her.
Oh, I did. Rico still in here? Yeah.
Yep.
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
my video that I'm putting out, I did do a special thanks to you guys, you, Dev, and
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Joey and CJ.
Mm-hmm.
So because
No, appreciate that, man.
I've
Yeah, I
been I've
appreciate that.
been I've been doing that one video. Don't laugh at me. I've been doing that one dad blasted video for about 2 months.
Okay,
Nah, that's
Chris, don't feel bad, man. I had one of my when I was doing my jellyfish series, and I was doing like a different video on jellyfish. One of the videos, I
uh,
seriously recorded it like 5 days in a row because every time I did it, I just didn't like it. I just whatever it was, I'm
yeah,
like, nope, I don't like it. I'm like, this is crap. This feels like shoddy quality. I don't know. It just wasn't sitting right with me, and I was frustrated over that one video. Once I got past it, I was fine, but I reshot it so many times, so it happens to all of us.
yeah. Yeah, I look at most of y'all videos, and it's like with these. Like I look back at George's videos and some of his early videos. Like, damn, yeah, he was kind of corny.
But even like looking
But
before I rebranded my channel to ReefDudes, when it was just like my personal channel, I look at some of my old videos, I'm like, oh, those are terrible now. But I mean, one of those things. The more you do it,
yeah,
you get more comfortable, and it gets easier and becomes fun
yeah.
after a while. every once in a while I'm still like, I don't feel like making a video
I agree.
today, but I'm like, nope, must get my Monday video done. So trying to get my video a week and be consistent. But some weeks it's hard to be motivated, and other weeks I'm super stoked and I'll film multiple videos. So it's one of those things. All depends.
That's how I
Yeah.
felt today. Like I didn't want to do it. I was like, sweet, I was like, you know what? I got to get it out. So I just put my intro in and my ending in on it. That was it.
Here's the intro and editing, and
I-
something's going in the middle.
yeah, I didn't have to edit title guard. I didn't want
Yeah.
to edit nothing. I wanted to
Mhm.
keep it 100% of what he said, word for word. That was it, and
No, I think that's great,
because
especially for interviews and stuff. Like you don't really want to cut out any of the good
yeah,
stuff.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. So, yep.
Yeah,
Every reefer should have an RODI.
Ari
I
did
agree.
that. 100% agree. I think most learn that after
Definitely
about
agree.
6 months in or so. They're like, oh, I'm tired of hauling buckets. Why am I doing this? And eventually they get one. So, Ari, that
Yeah.
is an excellent
No
point.
bucket.
It's not worth it. It's too much
Yeah,
work.
no bucket hauling.
It's too much work.
Float
People.
ball and a shut off nozzle to fill it up. Just
Mhm.
turn the nozzle, fill it up, shut it off, and let it until it's ready to fill up again. But
Yep.
yes, RO unit, most definitely.
Yep. I even put
I
one
can
on
tell you
my.
right now, Vince, I can tell you right now with that guy saying come in when I was getting my water, I think the most I ever came in with was like 5 jugs. This guy came in with like 10 dad blasted buckets from Home Depot with the lids, and
Whew.
I think it's maybe more than that. And I'm looking like, no, yeah, I'm not. I'm definitely investing in my RDI unit, and um, I'm just gonna just do a bulk order for my salt because I'm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Lots of fun, eh?
That's too much.
My CP40 took a crap.
Uh,
All right, man.
Still ain't.
I guess
I didn't hear that.
yeah, he just cut out and dropped off.
Oh.
No bucket zone. There you go. Jamie knows where it's at. Going good. Bought a pair of CP40s for the week for more flow. Those are great pumps. I've been running mine for a while. Been super happy with it. The very first one had a little bit of issues, but that got fixed under warranty, and then the new one's been great. Wife, you didn't care for my BRS 4-stage sitting in the kitchen counter. No, you got to mount that under the sink or in the laundry room or somewhere permanently where it's out of the way. Keeps them all happy. So it looks like we lost a couple of guys on the live stream.
Huh?
Oh, you're still there. It showed everyone else
Yeah, I'm
disappeared.
here.
Okay.
No.
But
Yeah,
a
I'm
couple
here.
people disappeared off there. All right. What's up? Did that. Mine's in the garage. I have the waistline going up to the washer drain. Yeah, mine's on the washer drain too. Perfect spot. Buddy.
That's where mine's at, in the washer drain.
Yeah, mine's literally like on the wall behind the washer and dryer, and then one goes into the drain.
Butterfly.
Yep.
2 R's, Ari.
Well, guys, we're 2 hours and 18 minutes, so a little longer than normal, and I have to go pick up the lovely lady soon, so I think I'm going to call her quits to today. But thank you for everybody who joined us today. We had some good conversation, and definitely good things are coming, so I appreciate you all who are on the stream, and thanks, guys, for coming out. Thanks for helping on as well, Rico.
All
Happy
right,
to hear
Dev.
that we somehow cured your headache.
Nah, yeah. Well, sleeping all day, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, man. Yeah. So.
All right. Okay. Thanks, everybody.